And here we are back with the fourth part of Alice Baker, A Study in Ice. Alice has returned to New York. She is still unable to travel or do much. So taxis are the order of the day because you still suffer from broken ribs, and that's going to stay with you for a while, at least until January, probably. So it's now round about the 10th of December. There are a couple of things that you still want to do. The subtitle of today's episode is Bringing Down Miss Brightwood.
Yeah, at least that is the main goal.
And also trying to find a way to save Mademoiselle Martin from being a Wendigo, which we have now proven she is. And she is currently locked away. So you have received word from Miss Littlewood. She has rung your residence telling you that, she's locked away and she's kind of coming to grips with the fact that she is now a monstrosity. We can't say it any other way, but she's keeping her happy, feeding her meat, as it were, not flesh, of course. And Miss Littlewood is slowly getting used to the fact that whenever she presents Miss Martin with food, Miss Martin changes into this being, which is quite gross to look at. So there are two things that, first of all, you've also discovered a new side to your mother, which is if you send her off on an errand to do something that is vaguely to do with socializing, she can be quite amenable to the task and actually be quite nice to you as well. And she has discovered that there are several people on the board that she knows, but there's a couple that she is friends with, and that's Eunice and Bertrand Smith of the Long Island Smiths. They are industrialists. They are very rich. They have two daughters who are older than you. They are twins. They are 40. So they would have been at school. I mean, you might have seen them around because there would have been an overlap of a year or so. But, you were very young. You were 10 and they were 19. Well, hold on. Actually, they would have left when they were 18. So you wouldn't really have seen them. Eunice is on the board and Bertrand is kind of like a silent member. And they have agreed to talk to you at your mother's Christmas dinner, to which she's going to invite around about 20 people of the highest echelons of New York society. And so because you and of course Penny are also trying to remove Miss Brightwood from office and replace her hopefully with Miss Littlewood, but for this you need the help of the board. So this is going to take place on the 20th. So we now have the 10th, and there was also you are trying to find a way to cure Ms. Martin. And you and Dottie have devised this idea that you are going to check out, there are plenty of libraries in New York. One of them, of course, is the University Library. There are plenty of colleges, but you have found, you've looked at the kind of like the guide of, like what lectures there are, and you have found the name of Dr. Ambrose McFarlane, who is an anthropologist. And right this year, he was teaching a course in Native American myths and mythology. And you have also kind of, Dottie did a lot of the legwork simply because you are not mobile enough yet. It does put a strain on you still. And she has checked out a couple of his articles, and he has written widely about the Native American tribes, especially here in New England, and also the east coast of Canada. And she has brought back his phone number, and you have rung his secretary, and she has made an appointment for the two of you.
Nice.
Which is today. And so Dottie's called a cab. It's waiting outside. She is still kind of watching you like a hawk when you try to negotiate stairs.
I can do this on my own, even if it takes some time.
Yeah, so she always has to do a power check to see does she try to help. And in a 53, she's fine. She manages to Yeah.
Breathe, Dottie, just breathe.
You've noticed that whenever you're doing something like negotiating stairs, she deliberately looks up at the sky to kind of not have to watch you because she's dying 1,000 deaths every single time. Especially since it's now, of course, cold and there is ice on, and she actually goes out and salts the stairs every day when she knows you're going out, so that it kind of goes away. And you get into the taxi. The taxi takes you to the building. I have no idea what this building looks like. I have no idea what NYCU looks like, but I'm saying it's going to be a brownstone building, several stories, let's say 4, huge, ivy growing all over it. And it's on the 3rd floor.
Mm-hmm.
There is no elevator, of course. It's an old building. And you have the number, it's 306.
Mm-hmm.
And you go up the stairs, and I just envision it to be like broad marble, almost stairs, stone stairs leading up. And I would also say that there is kind of like light shining through some kind of opening in the ceiling, which is of course covered in glass. And I just imagine it to be a really beautiful building, very high ceiling, lots of people running around of all ages,
Mm-hmm.
students as well as teachers, as well as probably secretarial staff. There's a janitor or two, So you go upstairs. 306 is easily found. What do?
Knocking on the door.
You hear a woman's voice saying, come.
Just opening the door. Just, am I right at Dr. McFarlane's office?
Oh, yes, do come in.
Baker, I have an appointment.
Oh, yes, of course you do. If you would like to come through, Dr. McFarlane will be here any minute now. He's running a little late, but it shouldn't be more than 5 minutes.
No worries.
If I may show you inside, and then I can offer you some refreshments while you wait. And
Very well.
the lady
Thank you.
talking to you is roundabout in her 50s, very well preserved, long hair, which he has put up to a really interesting hairdo, very conservative looking costume, very conservative looking typewriter and stuff.
She's eyeing Alice probably on her clothing because she's wearing a suit. Tweed.
Well, let's see how she's doing with that.
Pants.
On a 17, she sees students every day.
Okay, she's used to.
And some of them might be quite, this is anthropology, so God knows who comes in here. And she basically takes you and Dottie inside. She offers you 2 seats. So basically there is a really big, rickety, worn out desk. And there is piles of books and papers on the floor, on the shelves, on the kind of like, it looks like chaos more than anything. And then there's a small rickety tea or coffee table with 4 chairs around it. And then she kind of goes, picks up all of the stuff that's on that particular coffee table without looking at it, deposits it on the floor, and she says, he will sort this out later. I apologize. He knows he's having visitors, but
I kind of find this quite inviting. All this knowledge and information all around.
Oh, thank you. It's, I gave up trying to understand how he sorts his things years ago. I just put stuff on his desk and hope that he looks after it, and I get it back without coffee stains on it. So, what could I get you? Tea, coffee, water?
A cup of tea would be very lovely.
All right. And Dottie also opts for tea, and she goes out and she comes back 5 minutes later with a teapot, milk, sugar, cups, and saucers and spoons. And she says, and I can actually hear him walking along, so he'll be with you presently.
Thank you.
And
I didn't grab your name.
Oh, it's Faith. Faith.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. And then, literally, as she walks out, he comes in. He's about 45. He is very well dressed. He's got like he doesn't have a tie. It's more like a scarf made of silk. And he is very slender, not very tall. I mean, he's more like Dottie size, so you would tower over him if you stood. And he says, and he looks at both of you and he says, Ms. Baker.
Alice will try to get up quick, which she can't, but she will try to get up anyhow.
Do please be seated. Be seated.
Alice Baker.
And he shakes your hand.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for taking some time.
The pleasure's all mine. The pleasure's all mine. And then you must be Miss Williams. And he puts out his hand and she shakes it as well. And then he sits down and says, I see that Faith has already provided One moment. And he gets up and he walks over to his desk. You hear him rummaging through a couple of drawers and he comes back with a biscuit tin. And he opens, he said, she keeps telling me I shouldn't, but I mean, I'm having guests, so I guess I'm allowed one. And he basically holds out the tin to the two of you.
I will take a cookie and put it on the side of my cup of tea.
And Dottie does as well, and then he takes 3 and puts it on the side of his cup, and then he puts the bin, the box away again, the tin, and then he says, "Well, as I understood from your phone call, you are interested in the legend of the Wendigo."
Yes, indeed. We are really curious to learn more than the, well, quite high-level artificial stuff you can read here and there.
All right. Well, might I add that this is basically the first time that, and excuse me for saying this, a lay person has come to me with a request like this, but of course I'm more than happy to tell you something about this. Well, as an anthropologist, we look at myths and mythology from 2 aspects, really. On the one hand, we look at the myth to see what function does it serve in the community. And then we also look at how does it manifest itself in the community. And there we get aid from other sciences like biology, but also more recently the alienists, or we call them psychiatrists these days. And I can tell you already, I'm going to touch upon some things that are happening in Europe. Europe is much more advanced when it comes to the treatment of mental illnesses. Well, anyway, the Wendigo. The Wendigo itself is, of course, a myth that tries to enforce the taboo of not eating human flesh. It is usually brought about, according to myth and legend, by someone, usually during the winter months, consuming human flesh because they are starving. And then, as a result, this evil spirit that is usually supposed to dwell in the woods, in the forest, makes itself room in that particular person and will consume that person from the inside. Usually people who are supposed to be Wendigos are described as being very emaciated and thin. And then every so often they start turning into a Wendigo, which is usually described as skeletal in form, usually very tall, very quick, and it goes out and hunts, not necessarily human beings. It can also eat the flesh of other animals. But the idea is really, the function in the community is to prevent people from breaking that last taboo, which is to kill a human being in order to eat its flesh. We find that in many mythologies. So, for example, in ancient Greek mythology, we find Tantalos, who basically broke that taboo, killed his son Pelops, boiled him, made a stew out of him, and served him to the gods. The gods, of course, saw right through it, except for Demeter, but she was kind of like grieving for her daughter Persephone, but that's a whole different story. So basically, he was cursed to spend eternity in Tartarus, and with an unquenchable thirst and hunger, which is not unlike the Wendigo. But whenever he bent down to drink from the fountain that he was standing in, the waters would recede. Whenever he reached up to get the fruit of the tree that he was tied to, the fruit would wither away. And of course, his whole line was cursed, and it was all terrible, but I digress. Anyway, so again, we see this idea, the myth is there to prevent people from breaking this taboo. Now, how does it manifest itself? Well, of course, there is no such thing as a Wendigo. Nobody has ever seen one. The only Wendigo that we have ever seen are actually human beings that look just like human beings, and they're usually dead because they were killed by the tribe, or they committed suicide, or they died of exposure because they were driven out of their homes. So, of course, what we see here is more like as the Europeans, and I can recommend Dr. Sigmund Freud. He wrote a really interesting series of articles called Totem and Taboo, and you should really read it because he covers all of this. But anyway, what we see here essentially is a psychosis. So somebody, because of course there are no evil spirits, so we know that this doesn't work like that. So it is a mental breakdown that we see in a person. And interestingly enough, the only cure that we know of that is being used and seems to have been used successfully seems to be to provide the patient with fatty foods and grease. Especially bear grease, bear fat seems to be very, very good. And apparently when they are fed bear fat or very greasy foods, at some point they will just, and excuse my language, vomit. And whatever they vomit up seems to be a heart of ice, whatever that means. We have never seen one, but apparently that helps. And here I might add that we have found that similar things work for other people who have other psychoses. People with mood swings, or people with anxieties, people who suffer from nightmares, people who basically have become unmanageable for their families because they're constantly afraid and they have to be committed to insane asylums. So we have now discovered that if we give them a lot of insulin and then electric shocks, we can't heal them, but we can make them a lot calmer and a lot more easy to manage. So we've moved away from lobotomies that we used to use to treat these kinds of conditions to a lot less invasive procedures with similar outcomes. Of course, the person will not be able to interact with society anymore, but you can imagine, I'm sure, that if you go and visit a loved one who has been suffering from this and who is no longer screaming at you and trying to kill you when you enter the room, but is just gently and kindly and calmly and meekly sitting there, that's a lot of an improvement. So, does that help at all?
Part of it does. A part of it I actually already knew, which is nice to hear that we got the right information. So the Wendigo is based on the Native American tribes.
Yes, it's there. It's definitely their mythology. We also find it in Canada.
Okay.
But of course, like I said,
There.
we don't find the Wendigo because it doesn't exist. It's a story. It's a belief. It's like the belief in God. And at this moment, of course, Dottie breathes in deeply.
I might correct you a bit. That's a bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Of course, God does exist, in a way.
Well, Wendigos as well, but you said fatty foods.
Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, we have apparently bear grease, bear fat, but any form of fatty foods. And I strongly believe that there is some kind of, it's like when you give somebody insulin, you shock the body with a surplus of sugar, as it were. And maybe the fact that you give them additional fatty acids does something to their body to help quell the psychosis in their mind. And you must not forget, if you live in a society where it is believed that this myth is at work, that this spirit is at work, and if you strongly believe that you are healing someone, and if that patient also believes that they are being healed, a lot can happen. We call it psychosomatic treatments, where you treat the body to work on the psyche. Of course, it wouldn't work on you because you know that Wendigos don't exist. So if I gave it to you, nothing would happen. You don't believe in it, so it doesn't work. But for example, there are people who are supposed to show the wounds of Christ. It wouldn't work in Samoa because they are not Christian.
Well, again, on the point of the Wendigos not existing, that's point of view and experience, I would guess. The food thing, just to be curious, based on what? From stories from the Native American people?
No, this was actually observed by, and he gets up and he walks over and he takes out he looks at a couple of books and he takes one out and he says, well, there is an article here which actually describes, this was observed by one of my colleagues, well, not my direct colleague, it was 30 years ago, so I didn't even meet him, I was 10 when he wrote this. And he actually says that he was visiting a tribe where there was a Wendigo, a supposed Wendigo. Of course, the person looked just emaciated, very ill, very sick, but he didn't look anything like a Wendigo. Obviously, it was a normal man. Interestingly enough, there are no female Wendigo in extant literature, so it seems to be something that only affects men. I don't know why, but
I'm quite sure women can be infected as well.
Well, we will have to discuss this afterwards because you seem to know things that I don't know. But anyway, it says here that the patient was given raw bear liver, raw cod liver, and also oil of the whale. And they ingested this. It was massive. It was actually 1 kilogram of liver, which was ingested raw in less than 10 minutes. I cannot even imagine how one would achieve this. And then, of course, the oil was drunk. And then the person expectorated something that looked vaguely like a piece of stone. It looked like it was made from ice and it melted within the hour. I have no idea what this is, really, because when I first read it, I thought that this was madness. But there are other reports that kind of say the same thing. So the only thing that I can imagine is that due to the fact that they are so emaciated, the body temperature drops and something that may look like ice gets expectorated. And apparently the person then became normal again. So their psychosis waned. It was quelled.
Well, Alice will look at Dottie. I think that's at least an option we can do.
Excuse me, what are you planning on doing, if I may ask, Miss Baker?
We will just try out if liver and oil, if we can get our hands on it, which might be tricky, but with some phone calls, maybe we'll find it. Let's see if it works.
Are you planning on doing an experiment on yourself? To see what happens?
No. I'm not a Wendigo. It's not.
Well, of course not, because you are not a Native American. It wouldn't work on you. You are not part of this tradition where this is a belief that is held. The wounds of Christ might work. Are you Catholic?
Thank goodness, no. Sorry, Dottie. Oh, God. But I can quite assure you that it's not only Native American people.
And now you have me. And he starts nibbling on his first biscuit. So, Ms. Baker, I have told you a lot of things, but it seems like you know things as well. Would you care to share?
As long as you're not sending out for people with straight jackets, because the story sounds a bit crazy.
Oh, I can assure you, you do not really sound crazy to me. You look perfectly normal. Unless, of course, do you have hallucinations?
No.
There you are. Mood swings?
Oh, well, yes, but I guess that's quite normal for as women, if I get it right.
Of course, quite. And he starts nibbling on his second biscuit. He's kind of like, oh my god, I'm on hot water now. Okay, so do tell me.
Well, I will not tell any names because I honestly don't want to bring people into trouble. But generally, we visited an old estate out in the country, and there were deaths there. First, deers, which looked, well, murdered by a very big animal, bigger than a bear. And then people got killed. And
how many people?
Well, two.
Oh,
two, which is quite enough. They were.
Jack the Ripper did more. Well, I digress. Sorry.
They were torn apart. Not a bear. Definitely not a bear. And that thing that murdered them, I can confirm, I don't want to say what kind of fly, walk in air, jump really high. It's quite strong. It just goes through a tree line as if it were just like feathers, which is quite impressive. And well, after we calmed the Wendigo down, it turned into a woman, not Native American. French or Canadian, I'm not sure,
French.
to be honest. I guess French. And yes, your description is quite right about a very thin person, very draught, which, well, made her hungry. Every time we're feeding her now, she's turning into that thing again.
He takes his third biscuit, nibbles on it, finishes it, and says, "You have a Wendigo."
Well, I'm not owning it or her. I'm helping, or we are all trying to help, because A, we don't want any other people to die, and B, we want to help her to become herself again. Would you have a piece of paper and a pencil?
Of course. He gets up, he goes to his desk, he gives you a notepad and a pencil, and then he gets more biscuits, but he doesn't offer you any. He just starts eating straight from the tin.
Alice will make a sketch of Wendigo form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just
you're quite good at drawing.
Yeah,
it's because you're into art. Okay, so you give it to him.
Yeah, give it to him. So that's the evil form. I'm not sure if it fits to other descriptions you got from the Wendigo. I think it fits quite well to those we found in our library.
He takes a look at the piece of paper. And you saw that up close and personal.
Alice is looking down on her cane. Yes. So
good.
I can confirm the stories seem to be right.
The stories that we know as anthropologists do not involve anything, and he points to the paper, like this, because
I know.
We only have descriptions. Nobody has ever seen one. Nobody has ever drawn one.
Well, I honestly think here and there some of the Native Americans probably have seen and experienced them, but they're probably
but
not
those are myths.
Everything.
Those are stories. This looks like something you actually saw.
I did see it, and I was not on drugs. I was not drunk. I was in my full mind.
I would never assume.
I was also not the only one. There were others to confirm.
You have a Wendigo. And where is it now?
In a safe place for others, and we are feeding her at the moment quite regularly in quite large amounts. So but we are looking for a possibility to cure her.
Large amounts. So what are you feeding it? I mean, her. It.
Well, anything on fresh meat that we can get from the butcher. Raw meat, uncooked, obviously.
And she ingests it really quickly?
Sure, she seems to be always hungry, which fits to
Well,
the
yes,
Bendigo
it
description again.
does.
But we did not go for a lot of fat and oil. We didn't think about that, so we will definitely give that a go and see if it helps. Because the option to bring her down is not an option.
Quite. They've got a Wendigo. What is she like?
She's weak, she's hungry, and she's fighting to stay in human form every breath she's taking.
Is she aware of her situation?
No. Yeah, well, by now, yes, because we told her. But she's not remembering when she's turning into that, pointing to her drawing. She's gaps in memory, basically. So the evil spirit taking over, as weird as it sounds for our thinking, or there are psychology like schizophrenia, that you have two basically personalities and they don't know about each other.
Yeah, for that we also use the insulin. We can use it for an electroshock therapy. It works wonders. I mean, it's much better than lobotomy. But so you're saying you think she's schizophrenic? I mean, because that would completely rule out the fact that she changes form.
No, she changes form. We've seen it, we've experienced it, and well, it was winter and she was almost starving, so that kind of fits. Honestly, everything you are telling us from the stories fits to what we experience with her.
But the point is that you are saying that this is real. I am saying it's a myth. There's a wide gap between these two.
Well, in all stories, there's a grain of truth.
If this were the case, then somewhere there's a place called Tartarus where there's a man standing in a lake trying to drink from it with the waters receding and trying to feed off a tree that's towering above him with all of the fruit always withering away when he reaches for them.
Well, and somewhere out in the ice there are yetis maybe running around. It might be true as well. We will never know. At least I am not planning to experience and see if it's...
Yeah, I would really prefer if you decided not to go to hell and check.
No, Alice will. Just take a sip of her tea. She's tempted, but no. Also, Dottie is sitting right next to her, so... Well...
Miss Baker, I have to say that this is completely outside of my experience. Because until 20 minutes ago, the Wendigo was a myth. You are telling me that it is reality, not only in people's minds or as part of a communal taboo enforcing theory and story to prevent people from cannibalism, but you're saying it actually exists and you saw one.
Well, I can only tell you, don't be out in the woods in winter and starve yourself to death, because it might get dangerous. No, well, as good point, all your work and the work of your colleagues is worth a lot, because it still gives us the background that we needed. We would have never figured out what is happening without all the books and stories we found. So even on the assumption it's a story, it's helping.
Well, on the one hand, I feel like I would like to see this thing. On the other hand, if it really looks like this, and he holds up the paper again, I prefer not to see it. I am just wondering what other myths of the Native Americans have a grain of truth in them, because some of them are even worse than the Wendigo. Because Wendigo are really rare.
Yes, thank goodness so.
Yes. So what are you now going to do? Are you going to feed her cod liver oil and whale oil and... Well, do let me know how that works out. A telegram will do. You don't need to show up. And especially don't bring her. And he doesn't point at Dottie, he just points generally towards the piece of paper. I don't need to see her. I take your word for it.
Well, I can give you an update if your information was helpful or if we found something else.
I could write a paper about this. Never mind.
Feel free to do so. I can ask her if we heal her if she's willing to talk to you about the experience.
Now, wouldn't that be interesting?
I'm not
An
sure if she
interview
would.
with... I can already see it. Interview with the Wendigo.
Okay. Hearing that, I highly doubt we will do that. I will just give you an input on how it went, because we don't want the press to go after her, to be honest.
Is she aware that she has killed 2 people, though?
Yes.
I suppose someone might actually try her for murder. So you might want to keep her identity hidden.
We do. Well, she doesn't remember to kill them. We told her that she killed them, so she doesn't remember, which is then the interesting case.
And he now becomes really serious, and he says, if this comes out, she will be committed to... She will probably not be executed for murder, but she will be committed.
For sure.
To a home for the criminally insane.
That is why we are just talking in theory. And I'm not giving you any names or more. That will be then her decision. The only thing I can offer is thank you for your help, because I really hope this will work. At least we have a new option to try. I will definitely give you feedback if it helped, and I can also give you feedback if this stone ice heart thing is happening or not.
Yeah, that would be interesting to know.
And feel free to use the drawing if you like to.
I shall.
Then I will not, or we will not, take more of your time.
Oh, quite. I'm forgetting my manners.
Thank
So,
you
and he gets up
so
from
much.
behind, because he has been sitting behind his desk the last couple of minutes, eating from his tin, and he basically takes off the crumbs, and then he gets up and he walks to the door and he opens the door for you and he shakes both your hands. And,
I will shake the hand. I will probably brush a few more crumbs off his jacket, just like
yeah.
that stays under us. Thank you so
all right.
much.
Yeah, it was a pleasure meeting you two. Thank you so much, and also happy holidays.
Same for you, same for you. And
Thank you.
Then going outside, also wishing Faith
Yeah,
happy holidays, and thank you.
Faith wishes it to you as well.
Oh boy, Dottie, that was something.
Oh my
I
god.
thought people writing about these stories would be excited to hear that it's true and not just a story. That is... Well, hey, we might have an option. The only question is, well, how to get on the livers. Cod liver is probably the easiest to get, but the rest...
I'm not so sure about the bear liver, to be honest, but definitely cod liver isn't a problem, cod liver oil isn't a problem, and whale oil isn't a problem either, because, well, you get it for children anyway. We can definitely get large supplies of that.
we should see if we get livers of other animals. Pig,
If it just has to be fatty, then it could be,
cow,
I mean,
pig.
maybe not cow, but pig.
Pig.
Yeah.
It's worth a try.
And she of course, she has prepared pig liver in the past. She knows actually the liver of a pig is actually quite big.
Mm-hmm.
So if we get 2 of those, well, I mean, I suppose the easiest way would be to inform Miss Littlewood, because getting it here and then shipping it up there is going to take too long. So if she gets it locally, then because you are not traveling anywhere, madam.
Well, if she needs help, we will have to go there and help.
You will not be traveling anywhere, madam. Look at you. And you notice that you're out of breath again.
Yeah, I'm still standing. I can walk. If she needs us, we will go there. Let's give her a call first.
One of these days.
Alice will just move on, to leave the building and to find a cab.
Okay, yeah. So, you get in a cab. It's not a problem finding one. You go home. You can see that Dottie is not happy.
She has to go through with that. I will grab the phone and will ring the school.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Miss Littlewood is actually available, and Miss Brightwood answers the phone. She is not very happy to hear from you. She is very cold towards you, and says, "Oh yes, Miss Baker. What can I do for you?"
I would love to talk to Miss Littlewood if she's available, please.
One moment. And she puts down the phone, and it's a long moment, because depending on whereabouts she is, because it's a huge building, she does eventually come to the phone. Baker, what is it?
Well, we maybe found a cure.
That's the best news I've had in a long while. What is it?
Well, in the stories, there is a hint that someone that turned needs to eat a lot of fatty things. So they were fed raw liver from animals, from fish. So cod liver might be a good idea. They're talking about bear liver, which is impossible to get, but maybe pig liver in large amounts, like kilos. And some oil of a whale, because that's quite fatty. So the liver to eat raw and the oil to drink afterwards. And then basically the infected, I could just call it infected, it's hard to say, however, throws up, and also throws up like a stony, icy, heart-shaped thing, and then they're cured. That's the story. As you know, we are going on just hope. Let's hope that part of the story might be true. It's worth a try.
No, I was just going to say, Baker, at this stage, I'm happy to try anything.
The question is, do you need help on site?
I think it would help, but I'm pretty sure that there is someone who's standing probably right next to you who would object to you traveling.
Just ignore her.
If you think that's wise.
Well, wise was never my point of life, as you know. That hasn't changed over the years.
You're not traveling alone, you're bringing her, and then that's fine. But also, if she tells you not to go, you might want to think twice. But of course, it would help if I wasn't doing this on my own.
Then we will be on our way. We will do that together.
All right. So if you take, when could you be here?
We can leave tomorrow.
All right. So I'll see you in 2 days.
Good.
All right. She hangs up.
Okay, I'm hanging up. I feel Dottie's. Dottie dear, could you organize a train back to school tomorrow morning on, please?
As you wish, madam.
Thank you.
And she walks out and she does the organizing. She doesn't talk to you for the rest of the day.
I will suffer through a lot for that, but Alice doesn't want to leave Miss Littlewood with this alone. So she says, hey, we're sitting in a train. How hard can that be? And yes, then there's a bit of driving, but
Let's see how she takes all this. Let's see if your supper's gonna be burnt.
Oh, I probably am not getting any supper.
What's your luck? No, I actually rolled on her POW, which is fairly high. And she you do get something really good. You get something that you really like, but she makes you sit down and finish it.
While eating, she will just try to explain a bit more. Dottie, I know it's not the healthiest reason to go. It would be better for me to stay here. But do you really want to leave her all alone in this situation? It's hard enough. Especially now that we're also probably pushing then the school on her as well. We need to clear this out before. She cannot run the school and take care of Miss Martin all at the same time.
I understand. But you must understand that I worry.
I know you worry. I will try to be on my best behavior. I will wear warm clothing. I will drink a lot of tea. I will not try to do too much physical stuff except walking and talking. And that's it.
And you notice that the talking is still difficult because you do run out of breath. It's not as bad as it was.
So no running, no jumping, no being flown around and being dropped.
You can see that she smiles. She is not relaxing, but she smiles and she says, "So how about dessert?"
I would love that.
So why don't you go outside in the salon and I'll join you presently.
Alice will just carefully stand up and slowly walk over. And
Making a point.
Making a point of being careful, and then sitting down in the saloon, or the salon, probably also putting a blanket over my legs to be cozy.
And she comes in and she brings you one of your favorites. It's creme brulee. So she's obviously not holding a grudge. I mean, she is Dottie and she will not be swayed in thinking that this is a terrible idea. But then again, before she leaves you on your own, she'll put up with everything. She will follow you to hell if you are going there.
Well, I jumped into a very weird mirror to save her, so...
Yeah. So there is this bond that cannot be broken.
Vice versa thing.
Yeah. And then and it's lovely as usual. And then she offers you a glass of sherry.
I will skip the alcohol, thank you.
That's very good of you. How are we doing with the morphine?
I don't need morphine.
Good. How about an aspirin? How are you feeling anyway?
Well, I could be feeling much better. I could be also be dead. So I'm quite thankful in the state I am now. And I think it will work today without aspirin. We might... Well, 1 or 2 for the travel might be good, but... It's getting better every day. That's the important part.
Okay. Okay, so basically she then informs you that she has reserved tickets.
Good.
That you will be doing the normal thing, so it's going to be an overnight journey. New York, Boston, Bangor, and then car from there.
Mm-hmm.
And you will be arriving pretty much at around 7 o'clock at the school if the roads are fine.
Good.
Okay. So, next day, she kind of looks at you and she says, "Should we tell your parents?"
Well, I can't explain why I'm going.
Of course not.
But if Mom gets some information and tries to call here and no one is there, she will be worried. Let me ring and leave a short message.
Okay.
She will just ring at her parents' house.
Baker residence, it's Hopkins.
Hopkins, Alice here.
Oh, Miss Alice, what can I do for you? Who would you like to speak to?
Could you just leave a short message for my parents?
Of course.
I will be traveling for the next 4 to 5 days. Just if they want to reach me, that I know no one will be home, and I will call when I'm back home.
Very well, miss.
Thank you so much. That's all.
Have a safe trip, miss.
Thank you, and you have a lovely day.
Thank you.
And
So-
Alice will hang up.
Okay, and he hangs up too. So it's now the 11th. You're leaving in the evening. You're going to be there on the 12th in the morning.
Yeah.
It all goes well, and the gods smile upon you. The roads are free.
Good. No ice storm or weird
No ice
things
storm.
happening.
So you drive to, and of course you have left a message with the school so
Yes.
that Miss Littlewood knows when you will be arriving so that she can
Yes.
meet you there. And you do arrive on time. Pretty much it's around 8 o'clock. Miss Littlewood is already in the hall. Miss Brightwood is nowhere to be seen.
Good.
And she, Miss Littlewood, is standing there, dressed very warmly, ready to go out. She's wearing a deerstalker hat, so she looks like a little bit of a very squat, a female version of Sherlock Holmes. And she has a hamper in one hand, and she reaches over to Dottie because she has both hands full. She can't shake your hands. She says, "This is the food. Make sure that she eats it." And she gives it to Dottie, and Dottie takes it and she says, "Yes, Miss Baker will be eating this. I'll make sure." And then she holds out her other hand, and that is a huge bag. It's a sack. And she says, "And this is the other food for the other one."
Then let's try to get it there. I guess we arrange to get a car and drive on our own?
You would have because, there is nobody there.
No. Driving is not that exhausting. I'm quite sure Alice will manage.
And also you are going to have to use a car because
get there.
you are in no position to walk
No.
that long.
No.
And it would take you a long time. So what you're going to
And
do
I'm
is you're actually going to
climbing on
go
a horse.
outside again, climb into the car, and then basically not go through the estate, but rather
Outside.
around.
Yeah.
And there you can drive. It's not an easy drive because it isn't meant to be a road, but it can be done. And you can do a drive auto check for me. Or car, or whatever it's called. There is something drive auto, yes.
Yeah, there's the drive auto thing. And oh boy, that is not a success.
Okay. Yeah, it's taking you a long while and you have to stop a couple of times because you do end up in snowdrifts, and Littlewood and Dottie need to pull out the car because none of them will let you even near it trying to pull it out. Let's see how Dottie does on strength. And with a 0-4, she nails it. It's
All the anger goes into that and all the worry.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a long discussion when the two of you get back to New York City.
I know.
You can tell. I mean, she is pulling at this car, and together with Littlewood, she actually removes it from the snowdrift, and then you drive, and the rest of you drive a little more slowly, and you're doing fine, and you arrive. And then Littlewood says, "I don't think she knows who you are. She will not remember you from the last time she saw you. So, and she is going to change, and it's still not a pretty sight."
Well, I'm not worried about the sight. I'm just worried about her attacking us instead of the food.
Oh, she won't. And I apologize up front. It doesn't look good, I know, but I've had to tie her to the bed.
Everything that helps. And made sure that you are still in one piece in front of us.
I'm just thinking, Dottie never saw it really clearly, did she? She
Wasn't
would have
Dottie
seen it
there
fly.
when she turned in the cabin of the...
Oh yeah, she was.
Yeah, seen.
Yeah, she was. Okay, so Dottie is stealing herself. And you can see that she's actually grabbing the cross that is around her neck. She has a necklace with a cross on it, and she's actually grabbing it and holding onto it.
Do you maybe want to warn her at least that you have two people there that are willing to help?
Yes,
That she's
I will
not
do that.
shocked. Oh god, that weird people are there.
And she steps inside
Mm-hmm.
and she closes the door because it is quite cold as well. But you can hear her voice. You can't really make out what she's saying, but you can hear her voice.
Mm-hmm.
And you do remember that every so often, one of you would have fallen ill when you were at school, and and then she would be the person looking after the patient, as it were, because she's the matron. And this type of voice that she's using now is very different from her normal voice, or the way she behaves. Even, it is very caring, it is very soothing, and it is very loving in a way as well. And then she opens the door and she says, yeah, do please come in.
Okay. We will
And
step
you can
inside.
And it looks... Dottie just sucks in the air. What you see is almost this place will probably have to be burnt down because there is blood everywhere from the fresh meat that was given her. It smells of blood. It smells of flesh. It smells like an abattoir, And she looks terrible. She is very... I mean, if anything, she has even lost weight, if that's even possible, considering how much she has been eating. Her face is wrinkled. She looks a lot older than the 45 she is, and she looks a lot older than the last time you saw her. Her hair is in complete disarray. She's obviously not washed. How could she? And she is tied to the bed, and it looks... I mean, even just the fact that she's tied to the bed is terrible. And then Miss Littlewood says, so I'm going to start feeding her. She's going to turn almost immediately as soon as she gets the first taste of it. It's not violent. It's just unpleasant.
Let's just hope that it helps her. We can just reach you bit by bit.
Mm-hmm. And then Littlewood opens the sack and she takes out the liver and she says, well, I've got 3 of them.
Okay.
And then she says, maybe you can open the jars with the oils.
Yes.
And she gives 2 of you, each one of you, a jar which easily contains 1 liter or more of oil. And you start unscrewing it, and then she takes out a knife. It's like a real hunting knife, and she cuts off a piece of liver and she goes over, and you can see immediately that there's a reaction. She's trying to sit up, but she can't because she's tied, and then her head comes up and she says, yes, just try to stay calm. And she gives her the first bite, and the change is almost immediate. She changes into this huge creature. And now you can see that there is also a chain on her feet, because obviously she would easily break bonds that are made of leather. And then she starts feeding her really rapidly, and she goes through the first liver like it's nothing. And you notice that as this creature is being fed, it calms down.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first liver goes in, the second liver goes in, the third liver goes in, and it takes all of 20 minutes. And then she says, and now for the oil. And
I will hand her the first part.
And she drinks the oil. So she basically makes sure that she can drink it and swallow without dying from it. And she drinks it away in no time. She takes the second jar. She drinks that down. There are 2 more jars. You unscrew them. She drinks. And by the 3rd jar, you do notice something, because she's beginning to convulse.
Mm-hmm.
And Littlewood says, this is new. This has never happened before. Maybe this is working. So, and she looks at Dottie and says, try to hold down her shoulder. And Dottie, let's see if she can actually do this. She rolls 100.
Oh God.
Dottie throws up as she's unable to do anything.
I will just go outside and get some fresh air, dear. And I will step next to and still I have some
Okay.
weight at least to lean on.
Okay, so for you, it's this motion of pressing something down is actually very difficult for you. So you will have to make a con and a strength check.
Okay, let's see. So the Constitution is a critical success.
Very good.
And what was the other thing? Strength?
Strength.
Strength is a hard success.
Oh wow. Okay, so obviously you manage to even work through your pain because it is painful. You don't think that you're gonna undo the knitting of your bones, but it is very painful because you have to really exert power here. You manage to do it, and the Wendigo is now convulsing. The head is turning from side to side, and now you can make a stability roll, a sanity roll, because she throws up all over you. And over Miss Littlewood. Let's see how she does.
Thank goodness Dottie is outside.
Okay, Miss Littlewood has a 3. She's fine. She
rolled
keeps
a
her
29.
composure.
I am fine as
Okay.
well.
Okay, so of course now this is she is essentially throwing up raw liver. The stench is terrible. However, she keeps retching, and then at some point you think, okay, she can't have anything inside of her anymore because, I mean, and then something comes up which doesn't really look like you might have expected it to look. It is actually blood, and it's a clot of blood which is about the size of my fist. It comes up, but you can tell it's not liver, because liver looks like a clot of blood if you don't look too close. And it basically falls onto her chest. There it opens up, and it's almost like a flower opening up. And in it, you can see that there is something that is kind of like see-through. Maybe it's ice. It doesn't look like ice, but it's kind of like a substance that is, it's more like possibly gel or something.
Okay.
Like jello. And that dissolves almost immediately. And as it dissolves, she reverts back to her normal form. And Littlewood looks at you and she says, was that it? Was that what was supposed to happen?
Well,
I mean, she did throw up.
yeah, and the stories say they throw up something that is looking kind of like ice and is melting away within the hour.
Well, that did melt away.
Is Miss Martin conscious, or is she...
She's probably semi-conscious. She's not sitting up, she's not talking, but her eyes are open.
The question is, how are you feeling, Miss Martin? If you can even talk.
Her eyes kind of move between the two of you, and she says, I feel really sick.
Well, after what you had to eat, I would feel sick as well. Do you want a bit of water?
I think water would be a good thing. I've got this weird taste in my mouth as if I ate raw meat or something. Ugh. Ugh.
Miss Littlewood, would you mind to get some water? It's in the car.
Yeah, she's already
because
kind of like,
Alice is just like, I'm not moving too much, trying probably to stand straight and not faint.
And Miss Littlewood gives her a glass of water, and she says, "What is? What? Where am I? And why are you here?"
What is the last thing you can remember?
I remember falling in the hall and hurting my foot. I fell down 2 stairs.
Happened quite a few days ago.
What do you mean it happened quite a few? I mean, So you're here for the gala dinner, are you not? Because this is the reunion.
No. That already happened.
What do you mean it already happened?
You really don't remember.
Remember what? And she looks at Miss Littlewood. Miss Littlewood what is this? What is going on? Where am I? And now she's trying to sit up, and she notices she can't because her arms are actually, they're not tied like this, but they are tied to the side of the bed. Now she actually realizes she has no motion, no range of motion. What are you doing? And you can tell that she's now thinking you're doing something to her.
We kept you alive.
Excuse me?
Have a look around. That is nothing we did.
She looks around, and of course she now becomes aware of the blood, of the stench, and she was like, what do you mean it's nothing you did? Are you saying, and what happened here?
Today, the question is, how many days is it since the reunion? Probably at least 2, 3, 4 weeks?
It is, because it was on the 24th of November. So she injured her foot when you were there on the 22nd.
Yeah.
So it's now, we said 11th, 12th of, so it's 22 days.
So today's the 12th of December.
It can't be, because that's not possible.
It is possible. You just don't remember what happened.
What are you saying? And why am I tied to this bed?
To not be a danger to you and others.
What you're doing is a criminal offense. You're keeping me here against my will. I'm going to go to the police.
You should not. Because they will put you in prison for murder.
You're insane! You are absolutely insane! Littlewood, I beseech you, this woman! What is going on here? Please, please, remove them! And she looks at the bonds that keep her in bed.
I'm sorry to say, but we have to wait at least for a bit more until we can untie you.
Wait for what?
To see if it worked.
If what worked?
To heal you.
You're crazy. Littlewood, she's insane. Do something! And Miss Littlewood kind of says, well, she's not insane, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for her, I guess.
The question is, how much of the story do you really want to hear?
What story? What are you... What is this? Is this a prank? Is this a joke? Because it's not funny. I'm not laughing.
This is not a joke. Looking at her cane and down to herself, that was not a joke.
And she basically follows your gaze, and she looks at you and says,
did this. You hurt me. Well, not
the thing is, she doesn't really see anything, because it's all, in this case, really internal. What did I do? I mean, I never even touched you. I saw you. What am I supposed to have done to you?
Well, you dropped me out of the sky, and I broke almost every single rib I have.
She's clearly insane. Drop you from the sky. She's clearly insane.
Well, first of all,
at this stage, Dottie you can feel Dottie standing very close to you, and she puts her hand on your shoulder.
Miss Littlewood, do you think we should risk it to tie her loose? Maybe move to a different cabin? probably set this one on fire. Because we can't clean this. And
No,
we
we
can't get
can't.
anyone to see this, because those questions we will not be able to answer.
Yes, I think you're right. We should. So, Ms. Martin, I'm going to untie you. And I want you to sit up really slowly. And then we will take a walk. We will see if you can walk. Are you hungry? Do you feel you need food? And Miss Martin's like, I think if I'm going to eat anything, I'm just going to throw up.
That sounds like the right answer.
And she basically proceeds to untie her wrists, and she sits up. Miss Martin sits up, and then she unshackles her. And Miss Martin tries to get up, but she can't. She is so weak, her legs will not support her. And you can see she looks almost like a walking skeleton now.
Well, sooner or later we need to get food inside of you, and I'm still listening. I just need to close the window. Because my neighbors are having a party outside on the balcony. Well, let's get her into the car and let's get out of here. I think that would be helpful for everyone in the beginning.
Okay, so Miss Littlewood is actually now supporting her because you honestly can't.
No.
She may look like a skeleton, but she still weighs something. And basically the two of them walk ahead, and then Dottie takes a look at you and she says, "Are you okay?"
Feeling a bit better mentally, physically. It will work. Let's get some of the gasoline from the car and let's make a fire.
Okay, so what she does is she kind of takes your elbow and kind of supports you going out very subtly. So someone who wasn't looking closely wouldn't know what she's doing, so she's being very subtle about it because she knows how you feel about this. But it does help a little because you are in very bad shape. And she says, "You sit down in the car. I'm going to get the gasoline."
Okay, there's an extra in the trunk.
Yeah, and then she gets so it's like one of those canisters, and she takes it out. She then looks at Miss Littlewood, and Miss Littlewood comes over to her, and the two of them exchange words, and then the two of them go back into the cabin. They spill the gasoline, which you can smell. Then they run out, well, they actually don't run. They walk out, and then Littlewood takes the canister. She uses it to break the glass, and then she just throws in her lighter, and it actually lights up like gasoline does. And then she says, "So let's go."
Yeah,
and you drive to the third cabin, because the first one was the one where everything started. So she drives to the third one, and all this time Miss Martin is sitting there, and she is muttering to herself in French. You have French, don't you?
A tiny bit.
Okay, so why don't you roll for me? See if you understand something.
Let's see. Oh god, it's basically almost nothing. No, I rolled a 98. I'm far away from understanding a single word. Far, 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 far away.
Yeah, on a 50, Dottie has nothing. You arrive. And so you go into the cabin. Miss Martin keeps talking to herself in French. And what do you do?
Well, first of all, we need to go inside.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you go inside, yeah, okay.
We said that every hut is a bit stocked up with basics. So there's probably a blanket, some water,
Yeah, there is
some
two
food.
beds. You have food because you've got this hamper.
Yeah. So I think the general idea is they also probably, no, not probably, they will have like a fireplace or something like that.
They do.
Let's.
And there's wood stacked.
Okay. Let's just get some water from probably the lake, which would be the easiest.
Or
and
snow.
Clean up first of all.
Mm-hmm.
I will just switch into new clothing because we have some. Well, we basically arrived. We never unpacked, so the stuff is still in the trunk, I guess. I can also see if at least roughly a few of my things would fit Miss Martin.
They are way too big because she's a lot smaller than you.
Yeah, but
they do fit. Yeah. So
yeah,
she can be covered.
Yeah, that she has clean stuff basically because her clothing must be horrific looking if there's any clothing left. So Alice would just ask Dottie basically for help to get everything together because I'm not going to the lake and carrying water back. That will not work. So she hopes Dottie can do that. And then the first goal is to clean up. Also Miss Littlewood hopefully a bit cleaned up. And switching into clothing that look nicer and cleaner. And then just carefully maybe feeding her a bit. Just small bites, maybe some bread, something not meaty. That would be the goal, to see how she reacts with something that is not meat.
Yeah. So Dottie has it covered. It takes a little. I mean, the first thing is she will make sure that you all change, and then she gets water, especially for Miss Martin because she essentially needs to clean herself up. Having said this, once she actually starts cleaning herself and being able to wash away even the blood, there seems to be a change in her mentally, and she's calming down. And then she basically looks around, and also she notices that nobody's trying to interfere with her in any way, that everybody's just maybe watching. Well, don't look at her while she's not wearing anything, obviously, but you're not trying to do anything to her. And then she sits down at the table. There's a wooden table, and then Dottie offers. Dottie has inspected the hamper, and of course it contains all kinds of things, including a flask of hot tea. She offers her some tea, and Dottie's actually now sitting next to her, and she's talking to her very quietly, and asking things like, for example, she offers her bread, and Miss Martin takes a slice of bread which has nothing on it, and she starts nibbling at it and eats half of a slice of bread, and then she drinks some tea, and then she eats some more, and then at some point Dottie reaches into her own pocket and she pulls out a couple of sweets. And it's little chocolates individually wrapped, and she offers them to her and she eats them. And Littlewood says to her, well, the two of them seem to be getting on like a house on fire.
Well, Dottie knows how to take care of people that need help.
Isn't that the truth? So what are you planning on doing now? I think we need to tell her she needs to know.
I highly doubt she will believe us.
Maybe not now, but I'm afraid that if the memories come back and she hasn't been told, she will not be able to contextualize that knowledge.
Yeah. We definitely need to sit her down, and then we need to see what we do with her. I can take her back to New York, but she needs to find a new job. I don't think we can bring her back to school.
Well, first of all, she needs to find her life. Look at her.
Yeah.
And then Dottie basically, you can see her, she's basically petting her hand and kind of like getting up, and then she comes over to the two of you and she says, if you want to talk to her, I think now would be a good time.
Okay.
Okay.
Miss Martin?
Yes, Alice.
Why don't we sit down and tell you what happened? As horrible, insane it sounds. And I honestly hope that you will never remember it, but in case you do, that you can just bring it into context. I can promise you we will not tell anyone. We have kept it secret so far. We will keep it secret going on, and we will help you. You are not alone in this.
Okay. She looks at you, she doesn't say anything, but you have her undivided attention, as it were.
We saw you getting weaker and weaker after you hurt your foot. We were there for the celebration.
She looks at you, she nods.
Then one of the fellow students from mine went missing. And
Where is she now?
Well, we found her in the second cabin, but she was dead. She was killed.
My God, what happened to her?
Well, a beast murdered her. A large beast.
A bear?
Bigger.
There is no such thing as something bigger than a bear.
Well, thanks to Native American culture, there is. So, we also lost Mr. Price to the same thing. He went
Price
out to
is gone?
look for the student Irene, and well, he didn't make it to find her. He died earlier, and he was killed by the same thing.
What thing?
As we learned from reading through books in the library, a Wendigo, and I know it's a story, I know it sounds insane, but it for sure was a Wendigo. We've all seen and experienced a Wendigo. Not sure if
Where is it now?
familiar with the story of Wendigos.
Let's see. On a 50, she has heard it.
Well,
But where is it now? Are we safe in here?
it seems like we are safe now because you hopefully were the Wendigo. That's why you have the blackout. That's why you don't remember. We've seen you turn back and forth. We somehow got through to you that you decided not to murder us on space. So we put you into that cabin and kept you fed. Well, not we. Miss Littlewood was nice to take care of you. Feeding.
I
Yes.
am the Wendigo.
Last winter, was there any... You were out.
Yes, I went skiing and I got trapped in the snow. I almost starved. I mean, my rations ran out after the 4th day and it took them another 5 days to find me. I had no problem finding water, but of course, I was just so hungry. I can't remember much except that I was very hungry.
That is how the Wendigos are created.
But it's a story.
That's what we heard from other people, but as I said, we all three saw differently. the good thing is we three are the only ones that saw what it was, and that it was you that you turned back and forth. Obviously, everyone knows that Price and Irene are dead. The police were there as well, but they took it in as a big bear attack. So we brought you to safety. And I know it sounds horrible, and as I said, I honestly hope you will never remember a single bit of it, because it would be much nicer. But you need time away from here, time to find yourself, and make sure you're back to full health.
You're saying I killed 2 people?
Well, it was not you that is sitting in front of us. It was whatever was inside you. That we made you to throw up, as it seems, because that was also in the stories and seemed to be true. Because the whole time we never got you in this clear state, so it seems that we have you back. So your main goal is to get healthy, to get regular, well-cooked, normal food, and take care of yourself. No going out in the snow, no starving again. And then it should be fine.
It'll never be fine. How can I live with myself?
As I said, it was not you. It was that thing, and that is, I think, how at least I see it, and you should see it as well. You would never murder someone, and I would just carefully take her hand. You are a good person. You would never hurt anyone, except maybe a student that is not paying attention in school.
How am I going to live with that?
Find your inner peace, but use it to help others. Help people that need help. Help children that need to maybe learn things and need help. There are a lot of people out there that can use support. That's a way to repay, I'm quite sure. Also, I'm quite sure Price, in the end, is happy that we were able to help. And his family is well on the way. The little one is going to school. His wife found a new wonderful job.
I think I'd rather be alone for a while.
Alice will carefully stand up and will just nod to Miss Littlewood and as well to Dottie. Let's get some fresh air.
Okay, so the 3 of you step outside, and now you can make a roll for me, and just tell me what the result is.
Just D100?
Just a D100, please.
Oh God, it's a 93.
Okay, good. Okay, so the 3 of you go for a walk.
Alice would not leave far away from the cabin.
No. I mean, let's say you step outside and you kind of like, you're not going to go
the
for
car
a walk.
if everything is
I think you really did well, but I think she really needs... I mean, you see, who is she going to talk to about this? She's all alone. She can't tell this to anyone.
She can talk to us. That's the only option she has.
She can't stay here.
I can offer to take her to New York and make sure she has a little place she can stay. She can talk with me when she wants to, and she can figure out what she wants to do. Maybe She could help the little girl of Price to be good at school, teach her stuff, or find something else. Maybe she wants to go back to France. I have no idea. We can just offer help.
Yeah, I agree. I can't imagine what it must feel like to be told that you have just killed 2 people and you don't even remember it, and the only reason you did it was because you wanted to eat their flesh.
I honestly would not even accept it. She's taking it much better than I would.
No, I'm not saying that she is. No, that's
Yeah.
not what I meant, but it's like.
I don't know how, as I said, looking forward, turning everything that happened into something good, because then at least it was not all in vain. She has a lot to offer. She just needs to find it.
Yeah.
Also, about having a lot to offer. With all this happening, I never talked to you about it, but well, the school obviously needs funding.
Oh, yes, we do. This is why we're going to have that dinner. We were going to try and collect funds.
A lot of us are willing to give funds, but under one condition. We are trying to still organize a few things, but we have to change who's in lead for the school.
I think that some colleagues would not be unhappy if Miss Brightwood was going to go to pastures new and green.
That might be an option. The question is, we need to name a new candidate, and I would highly propose your name if you are willing to.
Me, Baker, what are you thinking?
You are the best mix to lead a school like that. You are tough as hell. You can be frightening as hell, but you can be also warm and caring because you care about people, which is needed. You have the right mix, and I know that everyone is looking up to you. Also, the cook is listening to you.
Well, to be quite honest, and she looks at you and then she looks at Dottie, she has not really lost her outspokenness, that one, has she? And Dottie just goes, well, from anyone else, this would have been an insult clad into trying to suck up to me. But since it's you, I know that you're meaning every single word you're saying. So I'm taking the compliment as it was meant. Look at me. I'm 59.
That gives you at least 20 years more if you want to. Depending
There she
on
gives
how
a
long
really throaty laugh, the laugh
you
of
want to be
a
there.
smoker. And she says, well,
Even if it gives you time to sort and help everything set up and find a worthy person
I'll tell you
following
something. You take her to New York and set her up. And if the board calls me to return the favor, I will step up to the plate. But they need to call me. I'm not going to put myself forward.
No. You don't have to. It's just a question I want to ask you before we throw you into the ring. And you say, oh God, no, I will never do that. Because then I need to come up with a different idea. And not only me, also the others.
And the others being?
Well, definitely my second half. And we know people. We both know a lot of people. And honestly, it's also helpful to talk to ex-students before us.
Well then, it looks like you're making plans to be a rebel again.
I love the school. I learned very much. It was a good place for me to grow up. It would be sad to see it break down because of the stubbornness and the not fitting lead of the school. She's a good teacher, don't get me wrong,
She's a very good teacher.
but she's not the right person to lead a school.
Well, I will tell you what. My offer stands. You take her to New York.
I will definitely do so, and you are just warned that if the school board calls you, you are not completely knocked off your feet and surprised.
Yes, and I expect a box of cigars for Christmas. As compensation. Baker, as compensation.
Deal on that.
And she laughs again, and at that moment the door opens and Miss Martin stands there. Yeah, she looks a sorry sight, and she says, I would like to go home. Well, I would like to leave, go somewhere. I don't want to go back to the school. I want to go somewhere else. I don't know where. I don't know. I don't even have money.
Well, first of all, I can offer to take you back to New York with us. And you can stay even with us for a while, or if you don't want to stay with us, I can organize a little pension room if you like. And then you can figure it out. I will be there to help if you want to talk as well, because you can talk to us because we know what happened. And I'm there to support, to figure out with you where you want to go and what you want to do. We can leave this afternoon.
You can see that she's very conflicted. And you also see that she is mentally unable to argue with you. There are so many things that are going through her head. You also know that it's very hard for her to accept all of this because it is kind of like a lot. But she is unable to not accept because she simply can't. She has no way out. She is stuck.
We will just figure it out one step after the other. The first one is we go back. Miss Littlewood, maybe you would be able to pack a few of her things that we can put it into the car. We can do a little bathroom break at the school, and then we will drive back to Bangors and see that we grab the next train back.
All right, so she agrees to this. It's really like she has no agency at the moment. And so you drive back. You don't need to roll. You drive slowly and carefully.
Although
and you
I'm
arrive.
Curious.
And oh yeah, please do. What was it?
I rolled
was it
an 18, which is
even below the base chance. Yeah. Base chance is 20.
Well, I have 30 in driving.
Oh, there you are.
I am definitely
almost a hard success. Yeah.
Doing better now.
So you go back to school. You Littlewood goes in first to ensure that there is no one else there, and then she takes her into her room. I mean, the school is deserted because there are only those couple of teachers left. And then she says, I'm going to get everything ready and then we should leave straight away. I don't want anyone to see her because there are just going to be questions, especially and she kind of like says it, and she knows Martin will hear it, but she can't not say it, especially in the state that she's in, because she looks like death. And you think she does. She looks like death.
Well, it helps that we told everyone that she is sick and in hospital. So even if we can tell her she's out of hospital, but we are grabbing her stuff and driving her to a place where she's getting better.
So you drive back. Dottie actually has a timetable.
Okay.
She is able to figure out a train connection that will take you
at least to Boston, and then we can see.
It takes you to Boston, and of course from Boston to New York there are plenty of trains. And so you manage to get there. It's not as comfortable because it's not a sleeper car, but you manage. Miss Martin on the whole train journey. She speaks when she's spoken to, she drinks when she's given something to drink, she eats when she's given something to eat. But other than that, she is brooding. She is obviously thinking, you can tell. She is absolutely lucid, so she's not drifting in and out of it. You can tell that she's taking everything in. You arrive in New York on the next day in the afternoon. And she says, I will access my account. I do have some money. I would be grateful if you could find me a place where I can stay. Like you offered a small pension room. I think this would be best for me
Sure.
at the moment. And you proceed to do this. You put her in a taxi, give her probably some money that she doesn't starve.
I think we would even try to find a pension that is not too far away, that she has the
Okay.
option to take a walk, and I will give her definitely my address, my phone number, and everything, and I will check in just to make sure you have everything you need if you want to talk, or if you just want company. Feel free to give us a call or just come by.
She nods and she says thank you. But it's still kind of like this. She is still not in a place to really say thank you in a way that it means something, because at the moment she's just
Functioning is.
She's functioning,
She's
yes.
functioning. Yeah.
So it's so it's now probably the 18th. And it's 2 days before the big dinner. And basically she's packed off, she's in her pension. You inspected the pension yourself. It's a good place, it's clean, it's quiet, and you're back in your house. And Dottie, you did this. She's preparing dinner.
I would have called at my parents' place again, talked to the dear Hopkins, letting him give out the message that I'm back, that if there's anything, I'm back home. If not, I'm looking forward to see them in a few days. And just that they are safe and sound.
Of course, you've in the meantime received a written invitation from your mother.
Good.
Yeah. This time she didn't add that appropriate dress was required. It was actually a chipper note that you got from her, and she's informing you again that Eunice and Bertrand will be there and will be happy to be speaking to you about the school.
Good.
So Dottie is preparing dinner. It's served. You sit down, the two of you have dinner. She's kind of looking at you because, she knows that this has been very stressful. Every time you lift your arm, you feel pain. Every time you breathe, you feel pain.
But it was good mentally for her, I'm quite sure. She was also stuck in, we need to find a solution for this and we need to figure something out. So she was quite restless the whole time. I think now is the time where at least Dottie, that knows Alice well enough, will see that Alice for the first time is basically relaxing.
So how are you feeling now? You look a lot better.
Well, my body says I'm a stupid dumb for doing this because everything hurts, but I feel better now that we seem to have solved the problem.
Yeah, you did solve it, didn't you?
Well, we all did together.
Yes, we did. We'll see what comes of it. I hope that she can work through this somehow.
I hope so as well. But at least we give her now the option that she can work it out without eating through people.
I love it when you say those things.
Tomorrow I will send a telegram to the doctor at a university just to confirm it worked. Thank you very much.
He's going to be so excited.
I think he will be freaking out, but hey, he helped us massively without probably even knowing how much.
And now you need to do something for me.
Whatever you want.
Go outside in the salon, you lie down. You let me know what you want with your dessert. coffee, tea, sherry, you name it, it'll be there. But you have to stay put for the next 2 hours and not do anything. Promise?
Promise. And a tea would be lovely.
Okay. So she basically starts putting away the dishes, and you walk outside into the salon. You lie down.
Yep.
So you're being a good girl.
Probably even falling asleep for a nap. I could imagine that.
And you do fall asleep, and when you wake up, you see Dottie sitting next to you on a chair. That was important. You needed that.
I think so. Thank
So
you
now that,
for hanging in with me.
of course,
In
you know
all
me.
The insanity.
So here's your dessert. I'm gonna bring in the tea. And before I forget it, I'm going to... It's this time of year again. I know that you kind of ignore it every year, but I'm going to get my Christmas tree. So she gets up, and you have this where you keep the money that you have. So you always have around $15, which in today's money would be around 200 euros. So that you can pay the grocery deliveries and stuff. And she takes out a couple of dollars, and she says, well, I'm going to get a tree tomorrow, because if we wait much longer, then we're not going to get a good one.
Take a few dollars more. Find a nice one.
I will. And then she steps outside. She comes back with a tray. It's got tea on it, milk, sugar, the way you like it. Your dessert, which today is an eclair, which of course she made herself, and with chocolate sauce. It's good. And and then so the evening passes. You are very tired.
Mm-hmm.
You feel very tired. So you probably, I don't know, what are you going to do? Are you going to go to bed? Are you trying to be sensible?
I will just yawn and stretch, and will probably be like, ouch.
When you stretch, it goes like, ow!
I think for me it's time to get to bed and find some proper rest. The couch is not the best place for that. Would you mind checking if everything is locked?
I don't mind
I
at all.
see you in the morning.
I'll see you in the morning. Sleep well. And you go upstairs. You can tell that she's basically trying to be very subtle about it, standing at the bottom of the staircase, watching you walk up. She's not good at being subtle.
That is something we both are not, so that
It's
works.
very obvious, and then when you've basically walked away and you can't see anymore, she locks up. You can hear her putting away stuff. You can hear her doing the dishes, but then you fall asleep very, very quickly. And the next morning, you open your eyes and you notice that it must be later than usual, because there is sun flooding in, and it's December, and normally she wakes you up at 7 when it's still dark outside, and then the door opens just a creak, and you can see her face, and she's like, so good morning.
Good day. Looking outside.
It's 9 o'clock.
Thank you for...
Did you sleep well?
Yes, having me sleep in for a bit. I hope you slept well as well after the last day.
I did.
Good.
You can come downstairs. There is a slice of toast waiting for you and plenty of coffee.
Thank you.
And she closes the door and walks away down the stairs.
Yeah, I will just carefully get out of bed, very slowly. Not stretching, because I know it will hurt.
Not stretching because ow.
And I will just basically wash my face, my teeth, just throw over a morning robe, and will carefully go down the stairs.
Mm-hmm. Well, as you basically have noticed, or as you would have noticed when you undressed last night, essentially when you break your ribs, it looks like there is a lot of blood pooling, and you look like you're black and blue in that area, and you notice that the stains have grown bigger. So obviously, yes, so there was bleeding, internal. Well, I mean, not internal bleeding in your organs, but obviously you have regressed. It's terrible. You feel terrible. And you know that the only thing that you can do now is you need to bandage it again to kind of keep the pressure on. For this you need Dottie. So now the question is, do you actually let Dottie know how ill you're feeling, or do you try to?
No,
you do.
I will be just honest, and we'll just probably call out down the stairs. Then, Dottie dear, I might need some help.
Dottie comes towards you, and she's walking very quickly. A look of concern on her face.
No,
what is wrong?
Not wrong, but I'm quite sure I made it worse than it was before we left. So I think bandaging is up again, and I need help for that, and I deserve all the looks.
She is composed and very self-possessed, and she says,
Do you think
I'm not going to give you any looks. Wait inside, I'll be right there.
Okay. Or just sit down.
Yeah. And she comes back with bandages, and it is actually quite a painful thing. And then she asks you to basically breathe in and hold your breath, because otherwise you will tie too tightly, and then that's going to cause all kinds of things. And then you're done. And then she says, do you think you want some medication?
Let's try without. Maybe an aspirin, but that should be enough.
But even then, you first need to eat something.
Yes. So let's just keep an eye on that and decide if I have to go to the doctor again. He will not be pleased with me.
And she basically then, she doesn't take a no from you. She leads you down the stairs. She offers you to basically support you while you're going down. And you notice that this is actually quite good, because the balancing thing is a bit difficult. She sits you down, you get your tea, you get your coffee, you get your slice of toast. There is a second one if you want it, but she's not even pressing any points there.
Take a second one, because at least the logical part of my brain says you need the energy to heal. So, second toast.
And then she says, well, tomorrow is the dinner.
I know.
You need to stay put today.
Oh, I will move only between here, the salon, and at the end of today, upstairs again.
Very good. I was going to buy a Christmas tree. Do you think I can leave you alone for 2 hours?
Yes, definitely.
All right. So then she starts putting stuff out onto the salon table, things that you may need. A carafe of water, biscuits, fruit. She's making sandwiches. She's slicing them. She's putting them out there. She prepares a flask of tea, and she puts it
to go on a longer trip, dear.
Now she's giving you a look.
Alice will just chuckle, but she will thank you very kindly. And please get someone to help you to carry the tree.
Oh, I'll have it delivered.
Okay.
I'm not doing this today on my own. I'm going to have it delivered.
Well, at least one in this household is smart.
That's why you hired me, Miss Alice. That's why you hired me. And she puts on her bottle green, beautiful coat that you got her. And she leaves. And about 2.5 hours later, she does return, and she looks, even before she takes off her coat, she walks into the salon, and I don't know, are you asleep? Are you awake? What are you doing?
Either I'm reading, or I'm... Although reading would mean I would need to hold a book the whole time, which would be annoying. She's probably listening to the radio, and I could imagine her falling asleep over that again, because I bet she's tired as hell after this, so...
Okay, now you can make a roll for me to see if you notice anything. Roll on. Well, actually, roll on. Yeah, con.
On con. That is a hard success.
You do wake up from your nap because you can feel something on your forehead.
Mm-hmm.
You open your eyes and you can see Dottie, and she has put her hand lightly on your forehead, and she's obviously checking if you've got a temperature. You seem okay.
Well,
You
tired.
don't have a temperature. Well, yes.
That is good because I need to go to that dinner tomorrow. There's no other option.
No, you don't have a temperature. That's good, because that can sometimes happen that you get an infection. But you seem not good, but not bad either. I got us a tree. I'm sure you'll like it.
Looking forward to have some Christmas decoration up here.
I will put up the Christmas decoration and I will set up the tree. You will not be moving a finger. If I see you even trying to put up an ornament, there will be hell to pay.
Yeah, don't worry.
Good. Make a psychology roll.
Oh God. Psychology. Let's see. That is a 16, which is a hard success.
Something's off about Dottie. It's not her. I mean, this is not her worrying about you. It's not her worrying. There's something off about her. Then she says, she brings you the phone and she says, you were going to phone in a telegram.
Yeah.
And then she vanishes in the kitchen. And you hear her start making lunch, because it's now round about. It's late lunch for her. It's almost 2, but she's obviously preparing something.
Alice will make note to herself to keep an eye open and have see how Dottie is doing over the next hours and maybe days. And she will call in a telegram to the professor, which literally says, "Thank you very much. It worked. Have a nice Christmas day, or have a nice Christmas, and best regards."
Okay, good.
Alice Baker, private investigator.
Oh, you're going to sign it with your
Yes.
title. Oh, that's brilliant. Then after 30 minutes, Dottie comes in. She says, it's going to just be sandwiches and soup. I'm going to make a proper dinner tonight. Would you like to eat here, or would you like to get up and whichever you prefer, madam?
If it's not big of a hassle here, would
No,
be
of course
really
not. And she
nice.
doesn't even let you finish. She turns around and she walks out, and she comes back with a tray with a bowl of soup and a couple of sandwiches and some water. And she sets it down, and she says, enjoy your lunch, and she leaves and she goes back into the kitchen. And then she just doesn't come back.
Alice will eat. And after a while, probably just call out, Dottie dear.
Dottie dear does step in. Yes, madam.
I hope you got some lunch as well.
Yes, I had a sandwich. I'm not hungry.
Okay, sit down.
She looks at you, and then she looks at the chair and she sits down.
Not hungry is my way of living, not yours. What's going on?
I don't know, I just don't feel hungry.
I think we both need a wellness vacation. Although I'm scared to go anywhere at the moment, so why don't we
She
do
laughs.
wellness vacation here in peace and quiet and safety? Just treat ourselves to whatever we want.
Maybe we
Enjoy
should just
a
have
good book,
Christmas.
good food.
I don't think food is going to do much for me. And she gets up and she runs out.
Great. Alice will stand up carefully. Will gather plate and her food, or the rest of the food, and will carry it slowly over to the kitchen. Is Dottie in the kitchen, or did she run towards the bathroom?
She ran to the bathroom. She's not in the kitchen. She is now coming out of the bathroom and she looks quite pale.
We need to forget about what we saw the last days. At least that
Yeah,
is...
I know. It's difficult.
Focus on the good part. We healed her. She's better now.
We did. Two people are dead.
Yeah. But it could have been much more.
Yes. Maybe this idea of not doing anything for a couple of days is a good one.
I'm also fine with just ordering some food and getting it. That you don't have to cook if you don't want to. You deserve also vacation and chill time. If you want to cook, you know I love your cooking. I will never stop you. But if you don't feel like cooking, we can just order. Or we go out.
Tomorrow you're going to your mother's.
Yes.
I would really like to take that day off.
Sure. If you want to take more days off, feel free to.
She looks at you up and down. She says, I think not. Because you just carried plates and that actually hurt. And she can tell. But tomorrow I will take off. I will go and visit my family. It's close to Christmas anyway.
Also, on the other days, feel free to at least go when you want to.
Yeah. And you can. She looks really worn out. She looks really. She has. She just looks tired. And she says, I think I might go to bed and just lie down for a couple of hours, and then before I prepare dinner. I really think I need some time.
Drink a bit of water and just lay down.
She does. She also gets herself a glass of water from the sink, and then she walks upstairs, and you can hear her. And she walks really slowly. You can tell her footsteps. She's dragging herself up to the second floor. And you can hear the door close, and then that's it. You get a phone call. The phone rings.
Luckily, I'm still standing, so I'll walk over to the telephone.
It's your
Baker?
mom. Alice, dear, how are you doing? Well, about tomorrow. So, I've arranged the seating. You will be sitting between Eunice and Bertrand. So you will be able to tell them everything you wanted to tell them about the school. I've already primed them. I've already told them that you have news of the school, which they are totally in love with, by the way. And I've also told them that you have a proposal. Because I did want them to kind of have an idea that this was going to be more of a business meeting rather than just a cheerful Christmas dinner. But I haven't told them anything else because I leave that up to you because only you know the details, darling. So is there anything else? that you want me to do for tomorrow. And of course, I've got your present, so you can take this home, but no opening before the 25th.
Alice will just stare blankly. Oh God, presents. Well, no. Thank you so much for organizing this.
Oh, darling, of course. I was saying to Richard, actually, we should have done that a long time ago. We just don't talk about the important things, and your school is just so important. We should have talked about your school a lot earlier. I had no idea that there were financial problems. If I'd only known... You know what Eunice said? Eunice said I should join the board. So I'm kind of thinking, do you think this would be a good idea, dear?
It would be an enrichment for the board. Why not? You know a lot of people, and you know the school. You still kind of love the school. At least I hope so, because if not, it would be weird that you sent me there.
Darling, of course I loved my school. And I mean, you were a terrible trial for everyone teaching you, but you did get good grades.
Well, I always loved learning things.
I was wondering, should I invite Peter Frampton? He's still single.
Maybe after the Christmas days.
And then you can hear in the background your father's voice saying, Patricia, we talked about this. Yes, Richard, I know, but I mean, there is no harm in trying.
Mother, just to warn you, I'm not sure if Father told you. I'm still not the best health-wise.
Oh, my dear, what's wrong with you? Richard!
Well, it's a few days back I had a skiing accident and I broke some ribs. I'm fine.
Richard, your daughter has broken some ribs and you haven't told me. How long have you known? And she puts down the receiver next to the phone and the two of them are having a very irate discussion, which is quite one-sided because he doesn't get a word in edgeways and she's telling him off big time.
Alice will try to yell into the phone basically to get her attention, like, Mother, I don't have...
And she picks up the phone. She says, this is between your father and me.
Wait,
I expect a full medical bulletin when I see you tomorrow. I want to know exactly how many ribs, who is treating who is the quack that is treating you. I want their name and address to see why my daughter still isn't better. And she doesn't even breathe.
Mother, breathe. I am doing better. It just takes time. It's not magic.
And what about that girl of yours? How could she let you go skiing? Where was she when...
She was
I want to
with me.
speak to that Dottie person. Bring her to the phone now.
No, she's sleeping, and let her sleep.
What do you mean she's sleeping? She's your servant. How can she be sleeping? It's the middle of the day, Alice. You and I need to talk.
Breathe. She had a long last days taking care of me, and today is the first day where I'm feeling a little bit better. So I gave her nap time, which is totally right because she's my assistant and not my servant.
Deep breathing in and out.
I am fine enough. I will be there tomorrow. I just wanted to warn you that I will not do anything.
Richard,
dancing.
We need to get a wheelchair.
No.
Richard, you get a wheelchair for our daughter. I will not have her walk.
Listen to me. I am fine. I will walk in myself. I will walk out myself. I just don't want to do much dancing or whatever you have in mind. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Richard, there won't be any dancing. You can tell everyone there won't be any dancing. Darling.
Mother, the others can dance.
You could have died.
A car could hit me outside as well as you could be hit by a car when you step outside. Things happen.
Darling, this is not about me. This is all about you. And don't you start with me, Missy.
It's just life happening. It's not unusual. People
Richard, you talk to her. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this. And she basically hands the receiver to somebody else. And you hear your father's voice. And he said, well, that deteriorated quickly, didn't it?
The one time I want to be honest, because she will see it in today's anyhow.
I'll talk to her.
I don't need
You
a
know.
wheelchair. I use a cane. That's worse
No,
enough.
you will not be sitting in a wheelchair. She is worried.
And-
You know that. I've been trying to explain to you that she worries about you. If you were just going to stop being so stubborn just for a second. And yes, you will say your mother is stubborn too, and yes, she is. But if the two of you could just put that to the side for once, just for 5 minutes.
Probably not happening, but also tell her the others can dance. It's not that because I cannot dance at the moment, no one else should be able to party.
I will talk to her. But now, seriously, how are you feeling? And I want the truth.
A bit better, but it's slow progress.
Mm-hmm.
So patience, which is so my forte, but
He chuckles.
Dottie's taking good care of me and laying low for the next days as well. So the party with the family is the only thing that I will attend to. Everything else is cancelled. Also, that is why I was not keen on being socializing to find a husband, because honestly I don't care at the moment. First getting healthy again, then I can deal again with mother finding a husband for me. But I'm looking forward to see you both.
As are we. So I'll see you tomorrow evening.
See you tomorrow. And I'm sorry that you have to fix this kind of again, as always.
Leave it to me. She's just worried. And, So I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, Alice. And,
See you tomorrow.
He rings off. So Dottie has gone to bed. So what are you going to do for the rest of the afternoon?
I will probably by now grab a book, get back to the salon, sit again in my lovely little couch with a blanket over my legs, and we'll just enjoy a book. And if I'm tired of reading, I'll just switch on the radio again.
Okay. So the day progresses. At some point, Dottie does make her way downstairs. She doesn't check in with you. She goes straight to the kitchen. She starts cooking. Very soon you can smell that she is probably doing some kind of omelette type thing. And then she comes in. She says, would you like to have dinner here, or would you like to eat in the dining room, madam?
Let's do the dining room.
All right. And she goes back, and you can hear her set the table, and then she comes out and she says, the table's been set.
Thank you so much. I hope you were able to sleep at least a tiny bit.
Yes, I was out like a light.
Well, it has been a lot lately, I have to sadly say.
I was thinking, do you think I could leave tomorrow after breakfast and go to my family and then come back the next day?
Sure.
Will you be all right? Will you be able to manage?
I will survive. That's not a problem. I'm able to get some food together. Also, honestly, after leaving at my parents', I'll probably not be able to eat anything for the next days because I will be stuffed. And
So I will help you tomorrow morning to get ready.
That would be lovely if not, leave.
Madam,
Okay.
I will help you tomorrow morning to get ready. And then I will take my leave and go and visit my family. And I will come back on the 21st in the morning to make breakfast.
Perfect.
Okay, so we move to the next morning. She does what she has told you she will do. She takes her leave. And then basically we will just fast forward. But before we fast forward, we'll take a quick break.
Okay.
And then we will go and visit your parents for Christmas.
Oh boy.
Okay, so 5 minutes. Okay, so it's now the next evening. You have decided on a lovely dress, but one that you can wear over the bandages. So not the one with the back almost down to your waist open, because that would look majorly weird.
No, I will wear something quite taken back and classical because
Mm-hmm.
I also don't want to offend anyone because I'm
Mm-hmm.
there to get something. So
Mm-hmm.
I am probably also clever enough to know
Of course,
that
yeah.
this is not the scenario where I want to wear something where everyone is like, oh god. So
Mm-hmm.
it will be quite appropriate, probably to the surprise of her mother.
And of course, you look stunning, as is your wont. And you take a cab, you drive there, you get there. Hopkins opens the door for you. Good evening, Miss Alice. If you will follow
Good
me.
evening. Thank you. She will slowly follow
Yeah.
him.
You walk in, and your parents are there. Your mother gets up to greet you. She notices that you're walking slowly, and you can see her wince. And she's kind of torn, and then she just stretches out both her hands and says, Alice, dear.
Mother, thank you so much for the invitation. It has been too long.
Yes, it has, hasn't it? Yes. And you can see that she's about to say something, but then she doesn't. And then, of course, your father greets you as well. And she basically then leads you to the table, and she says, Eunice Bertrand, may I present my daughter, Alice Geraldine Baker. Alice, this is Eunice and Bertrand Smith of the Long Island Smith.
Very nice to meet you. And she will just hold out the hand.
Yeah, so he gets up, he kisses your hand. She basically remains seated. She's a little bit older than your mother. So and then the two of them, you're seated between them as she had promised you would. And then of course, food is served. So there's like 10 courses, each one is kind of like, small, and then they start chatting to you. And then Eunice and Bertrand are kind of very different from your mother, but they are also old money. So they're also New York City aristocracy, and you can tell by the way they speak as well. And so Eunice says, so you were recently at Miss Gershwin's, I hear, and you went there for a reunion, and your mother was telling my husband and I that you had some news that you wanted the board to know. Would you care to share?
Yes. Well, we were there for the reunion. A few of my fellow pupils as well. And
Yes.
well, it's obvious the school needs some money for renovations. It's kept together okay-ish on first sight, but on second sight you can see that some new paint here and there, some bricks fixed here and there, some furniture changed here and there. Also for the reunion, well, I've seen the lead or the head of the school.
Oh yes, Miss
Action.
Brightwood.
She's a wonderful teacher, don't get me wrong, but
Oh, I'm pleased to hear that.
she is not very good at leading that place.
Oh.
Well, it's hard to respect someone that is not respectful to you. She's treating everyone quite badly as well.
Oh.
You know how it is. You don't officially talk about it, but you don't tell the cook how she should do her job. And
Of course you don't. Bertrand, have you ever heard such a thing? And Bertrand is like, no, dear.
she managed that we almost did not have a celebration meal because the cook was so close to either throw the job or murder us all by poison because she was that angry. And things like this happened here and there, so
Well, I mean, Gordon does have a temper on her ever so often, but I've never really thought that.
you know, someone leading the school needs to be tough, and she is that, but she's not good with people. And if you lead a school and you think back to your leaders of the school, it was always a mix of they were tough, but when needed, they knew how to be social.
And
That
you're
keeps
saying
the
that she
school
is only
together.
tough. Well,
Yes.
when I met her, she was very social, wasn't she, Bertrand?
Well, in
And Bertrand
real
nods.
life, she, as I said, the school seemed to be a miss of a proper lead. So, at least we students that were there, we really wanna support the school, and there are a lot of people wanting to give some money, but
Quite.
we are honestly not willing to give money to her, to not do anything again with it, because I am not sure how much funds she had, but the place is a miss next to things happening at the school that she ignored, which led to the death of the, how would he be called? Would it be janitor? No, janitor.
Yeah, caretaker,
The
groundskeeper, something
caretaker,
like
the
that. Yeah.
groundskeeper. So Mr. Price died. And
Yes, we heard. It was a bear attack, was it?
yes. The thing is that they blankly ignored that other animals were killed outside. Even I, just walking outside, saw blood trails of something got dragged away.
Oh my.
And they did not warn anyone. And she wanted to basically just. I understand that she doesn't want to make a big thing out of it because she's worried about the school, but all the little things that she did not do the way I would expect, and not only I, also some of the fellow students that were there, that we would expect from the leader of a school, of a head.
Oh my, this is very terrible. So
there's one teacher there that has been there forever, and Miss Littlewood is exactly the mix that the school needs. She's tough, and oh god, can she be scary if she wants to be scary. At least as student, I knew that I should not mess with her. But she's good with people, and she knows when she needs to be the tough one, or the very on point one, or the very nice one. And she knows the school in and out, and everyone respects her. That's the point. It's not about being loved, it's about being respected. And Miss Brightwood has not much respect from anyone, including the cook and the servants.
well, that is quite a problem.
It is, because we
so
all
you-
want to keep the school up and running, because it's a
Quite.
lovely place.
So you are suggesting to remove Miss Brightwood from office and replace her with Miss Littlewood?
At least from my point of view, Miss Littlewood would be a very good.
I'm not sure how Miss Littlewood how Miss Brightwood would take this. I doubt that she would stay on if we were to make that call.
I highly doubt she will stay on, but honestly, it's probably the best. Although the school has to staff anyhow for the new school year, so I would say at least leave Miss Brightwood there for the rest of at least that the students now can make their finish everything they need to do in January and I think February, until all the exams, everything is done. And then the school needs a new French teacher. The school then needs someone standing.
The school needs a new French teacher. Why? What's? Has Miss Martin resigned? Because I certainly didn't get that memo. Did you? Did you, Bertrand?
She's
No.
sick. She had to resign because she's.
And why weren't we told?
That is something Miss Brightwood can explain to you. Because she knows.
How come you know and she knows and I don't know? I happen to be the head of the board.
I was there when we brought her into town because she was sick.
When was that?
3 or 4 weeks ago when we were there for the celebration.
3-4 weeks. Bertrand, if it takes her more than 3 days to inform the board that one of her staff are to be replaced because they are... we have not even been able to... she's sick, and we have not been able to even send her our regards. What is wrong with her?
They're still trying to figure out what it is. But
Well, all the more. I mean, she must think that we are terrible people.
No.
She resigns from the school. We don't say goodbye. We don't wish her well. Bertrand, this will not do. It's so good of you to let us know this. I'm appalled and shocked.
I'm still in contact with her. I can give her all the regards on the school board. I'm quite sure she's not angry.
Is she getting medical attention?
She's getting all the help she needs.
Bertrand, say something. And Bertrand looks at you and he says, that is not good.
No, and it's the small things here and there that just pile up. So...
Well, that is not a small thing. I mean, she is a valued colleague. Miss Martin has been at this school for quite a while. I believe she taught you, and not that I want to comment on your age. Please ignore that, but she taught you, so she must have been there for 20 years.
She is a brilliant teacher, and I'm very sorry that
we should have been told. We should have been able to extend our best wishes and maybe even make a small donation towards her recovery fund. The board takes these matters very seriously. And Price, did you hear about Price? Because who's looking after his family now? Are they still there?
No, we also... It seems like at least me and my fellow students, we were there at the right time. Also, Miss Littlewood took care together with us that Miss Martin was brought to a doctor because she was stubborn. She didn't want help in the beginning. And also she took care together with us that the Price's family, they are not located in New York City, actually. She found a new job and the girl is going to school from springtime on.
What about compensation? I mean, of course we can't compensate for the death of her husband, but I mean, the board always pays when these things happen. We haven't even received... Bertrand, tomorrow we're going to ring the school and I will talk to Miss Brightwood myself, because this is just not acceptable. Ms. Baker, yes. I'm so glad that you told us this, because we have been left in the dark about very important goings-on at the school, at on whose board we serve. Bertrand, I think we should convene an extraordinary meeting of the board even before Christmas, and I do not care that it's the festive season, and we will make a decision on that day, at that meeting, to remove Miss Brightwood from office and replace her with... what if Miss Littlewood is not willing to take on the role, though? I mean, that could be very, very embarrassing.
I'm sure if you give her a call and ask, she will be glad to step in.
$16. Eunice looks at you and she says, this has been your plan all along, hasn't it?
Well, I would never throw a name to the board for someone who would not be willing to take the place, because then we just start the next problem.
She leans in. I can definitely see the family resemblance between you and Patricia. Although you look like your father, you are just like her.
You have to think everything through to the end. That's the thing we learned at school as well.
And while you're at it, can you not persuade Patricia to join us on the board? Please.
I've already tried, but I will give it another go. I think she would be very good in supporting you and the others, and she loves the school.
Splendid. Oh, and here comes the veal.
The
And
moment you're
just gonna say,
That's
and
not the veal, not for
yeah,
food.
you've got it pretty much in the bag. She is very convinced. And basically then the evening continues, and you have a lot of very nice chats with the two of them. They are actually quite interesting. They both sail. Well, not anymore. They used to, because they are now but they have a yacht.
I will ask
So they
them
now
if
get
they
somebody
have
else to sail for them.
ever been to Strand, because it's a beautiful place, and it even has a small harbor, and it's not too far away.
Strand, and the two of them get really excited, and you tell them all about the island, maybe not what's underneath, but definitely
only the pretty part.
yeah. And yeah, so the evening continues. It winds down. You have, I don't know, is it an enjoyable evening for you? Are you enjoying yourself?
I think it is. It at least keeps me from thinking about what happened and mulling over that. And well, she's there with a purpose to make conversation, make connection, and help the school. And honestly, if a little bit of help for the Price's family comes out of that, or even for Miss Martin,
you have like so many boxes
I
ticked.
am fine. And as long my mother is not there nagging me that this beautiful man would be a wonderful husband, I think she's quite fine.
She's not mentioning the H word,
Then
as it were.
she's just enjoying the good time, the good food.
And as you then basically take your leave, she kisses you on both cheeks, as does your father, and then she hands you a small, maybe this big, wrapped in very nice, very soft paper with a bow, and she says, Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Your presents will be there for Christmas.
Yes, 25th, not before.
I know. Thank
And
you
basically
so
then
much.
Hopkins calls you a cab, and you go home to an empty house, which is dark. And yeah, it's late. It's now 2:00 in the morning.
I will just walk in. I will turn on the light, obviously. We'll close the door behind me. We'll make sure everything is locked and everything is safe and sound. And then I will just straight walk up the stairs towards my bedroom and get into bed.
Okay. So you go to sleep. Nothing happens. You don't need to set a watch. The next morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
Hi. Welcome back.
She smiles. It's again daylight.
You are too kind to me.
Well, of the two of us, who is the one with the broken ribs?
Sadly, I have to say that's me.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure that if I don't take good care of you, your mother will have a lot of stuff to tell me.
Yes. Although surprising, last evening we did not fight over a single thing. It was a really nice evening.
And you can see that she is genuinely happy.
Also, the board will take action. Because they did not hear really about Price. They did not hear about Miss Martin not coming back and that they need a replacement. Which is something she really should have told the board by now. I get it that she didn't call them immediately on the day, but it has been almost 4 weeks now. More than 4 weeks now.
More than 4 weeks. Oh my.
So basically, she made it easy for me.
That really is unacceptable. I mean, she brought this one on herself.
She honestly, she did the whole time, but now it's just the last things. And that's all things I did not do. She did not talk to the board, so they will make a meeting and make the decision that she will have to leave because she's not suited for the job. And they will ask Miss Linwood if she would be kind enough to step in.
Well done. Well done.
Well,
So,
it was easy. Mother helped to get the right connections, and she enjoyed it a lot. And the rest Miss Brightwood did to herself, as you said. I just pointed out the facts, and I didn't even have to lie. I just blanked. Well, I did not tell the full truth about why Miss Martin is on sick leave for a long, probably never coming back time. But the rest...
because nobody would have believed you, I'm afraid.
But the rest is all the truth.
While I have your undivided attention for once, we need to discuss Christmas dinner. What would you like?
Whatever you have fun to cook.
You know how I hate when you say that.
But that's the truth. I love everything you cook.
All right, I will think of something. But you get to choose the wine.
Okay.
So I will let you know tomorrow what I'm planning on cooking so that you can make the selection. The tree will be delivered later today.
Good. I need to make some calls today because I have no presents for anyone. So let's figure something out.
All right.
Because
so
Mother, and she will point to the present that probably stands on a nightstand, already gave me my present. With the note, I'm not allowed to open it, obviously, but...
I hope you didn't.
It's still wrapped up. I did not...
Well, you could have unwrapped it, looked inside, and then wrapped it again to make it look like you didn't.
I don't have the energy for this. If I would have opened it,
true.
It would be open.
So how do you feel about breakfast?
Yeah, let's get some breakfast. Coffee sounds really nice.
She gets up because she was basically sitting down on your bed, and then she gives you a once-over and she says, I can't believe I'm saying this, but you can have breakfast in bed. I'll be right back. She takes the present from you, from the nightstand, and takes it away and leaves the room.
I will enjoy breakfast in bed. When I have the chance, I need to take it.
Yeah, so basically you sit there, arms crossed. When she gets back, she brings you... So this is the third time she's treating you to this. And she basically, well, you know, there's plenty of coffee, lots of it. And then there are 2 slices of toast. And then again, the little bell, just in case you need anything. And she puts it down and... yeah, and then she leaves you to it because there's a ring on the door. She runs downstairs, and then you can hear kind of like blah, 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 Christmas tree, blah, 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 salon.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and then you have breakfast. And after a while, maybe an hour or so, or 45 minutes later, she comes back. And she says, well, the Christmas tree has just been delivered and it's been set up in the salon.
Perfect.
How was your breakfast?
Lovely as always. Extra special because it's in bed.
Yeah, but it's not going to be the rule. It's not going to be the rule. This is an exception. I'm just making this exception for you today because today you had a long day yesterday and you're still not fully recovered. So, chop, chop. Time's a wasting.
Okay.
And she leaves you to it. She takes the tray.
I will slowly get up and make myself ready, at least to wear something halfway decent, and then I will slowly go down the stairs and we'll do some calls to order some Christmas presents and have them delivered.
Okay, so what are you going to order?
So for Miss Littlewood, obviously a big box
of cigars.
Perfect cigars. I think for my mother, a nice hat. Something not too crazy, but really nice and well done that she can wear when she's out socializing.
Mm-hmm.
I think a second box of cigars for my father.
Mm-hmm.
And for Dottie, I'm honestly still unsure. It would definitely be a pair of trousers. A second pair of trousers.
Okay.
Because it suits her very well and she quite enjoyed it. And probably a very nice scarf. A silk
Mm-hmm.
scarf. Something pretty that would fit to the coat that I gave her.
Mm-hmm.
I think those would be the things. Maybe for Dottie, I need to. Maybe there's something else, but that would be the two things immediately where she would be like, okay, we need to get that. And then she would send probably a box with some chocolate and some flowers to Penny
Okay.
with a card like, seems like we made it. Merry Christmas.
Okay, that's excellent. Okay. So you, all of this is possible and it is done. You then, basically, you see the tree. Dottie may need to get her eyes checked because it's huge. It's 220. It's super tall.
So it's stuck on the ceiling, basically. It's really...
Almost, because you have high rooms, you have
Mhm.
high ceilings, but she's now gotten a ladder and she's putting up ornaments. It's kind of precarious the way she's doing it. I'm going to roll on her dex to see how she does. Wish me luck.
Okay, the first. At least just make an ornament fall on her.
96, she falls off the ladder.
Oh, goodness grace.
Yeah, she has a dexterity of 65. This is supposed to work. Okay, so yeah, let's see.
I will
1d3.
walk over quickly as I can.
Oh, I rolled a 6. She takes 3 points of damage.
And I will help her up. Probably, I don't know if she has now.
She sprained her ankle.
You sit there. Don't move. I will get some ice.
That hurt. Okay, so she's down to 7 hit points. You come back, you give her some ice.
I'll put the ladder aside, just lean it against the wall, and I will get some ice from the kitchen, and we'll come back to her, and we'll just put it on her sprained ankle.
It's swollen. It's really swollen, and it's also forming a hematoma. It's not broken, you can tell.
It will take some time to
but it's
heal.
going to take some time. She is cursing herself.
Well, I guess we are definitely taking the vacation at home, and we will both be chilling.
I'm not sure if I can stand long enough to cook Christmas dinner with this.
Then we have a simple, easy dinner. Honestly, I'm just happy to be here in one piece and have you here in one piece.
And she looks at you and she looks at herself and she's like, we're a bunch of invalids.
That happens when you hang out with me.
Yeah, and at that she laughs, and you laugh too, which is very painful. So the next day she's basically like, she borrows one of your canes to walk around.
I have probably by now quite a few canes collected.
Are you being mean to her? Do you laugh at her, or can you curb your okay?
I will not. I'm suffering, so I know it's hurtful, and I know she's annoyed with herself because she would like to do things. And then I will be just like, I guess we both have to manage to decorate the tree the best that we can. Just a few ornaments, then a break. Maybe some tea, then a few more ornaments.
Yeah. None of you gets up on the ladder, so now it looks a bit weird because you managed to place the star on top. Then there is like a meter where there is nothing because you can't reach, and then all of the ornaments are at the bottom, so it looks a bit weird. But hey, what can you do? So it's now Christmas Eve. you have the Christmas dinner, and basically you know that tonight at 1 o'clock she's going to go to mass. I mean, her foot is still attached to her leg, so she will go to mass with her family. You also know, because you've done this for the last 10 years, more than that, what's going to happen is when you get up in the morning, there will be breakfast and everything will be under the Christmas tree. You will not hear her come back, and she also will not ask you to join because she knows you won't. So at 12:30, she gets out, has a cab, take her to mass, insert name of big Catholic cathedral in New York City here. What do you do? Because, now you're alone. Are you already in bed? Do you do anything? Have you been reading? Have you been listening to music? Christmas dinner was actually excellent. She managed to whip something up. Probably as long as she's got two hands, she's able to cook well.
The thing is, Alice is tempted to go to church.
Okay.
Not the Catholic one, but the Protestant one. So she is mulling over that, but then she decides on it would be crazy in her health state to go there. So she will just turn on nice Christmas music.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have the fireplace going in the salon. We'll have a little drink, even though she probably shouldn't with the medication, but well. And she will just have a relaxed evening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically then you at some point go to bed. And the next morning, how is Christmas morning for Alice Baker?
Not a very special morning. She's not the hey Christmas. She generally likes Christmas time because of the smells, being cozy at home. She enjoys quite the music and the good food. But she's just standing up, and she will just carefully walk down, looking forward to coffee as every morning. And we'll just see. I honestly think Dottie is more the one who enjoys Christmas and is
She does, yeah.
Christmas celebration and presents, and Alice doesn't need that. But she just goes along. She's not the Grinch. She's happily to go along, but she's not the force behind it. She's just like, I'm going with the flow.
Okay.
So going down and seeing if I can smell coffee.
You can. You can smell coffee. You can smell the not burnt but very well done toast. And basically Dottie's already set the table. Of course, this time you're having breakfast in the dining room, and the double doors are open that lead into the salon, so you can actually see the tree. And the lights are on. Of course, she has real candles, because even back then you didn't have electric candles, but she wouldn't be seen dead. If this was 2021, she would not be seen dead with with not real candles, artificial ones. And you can see that underneath the Christmas tree there are several presents. First of all, the present that you got her.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is the box from your mum. And then there is another box, and then another box.
Okay. And by now I'm just like, oh god, I forgot more Christmas presents. But okay, we will just go along with it.
Okay. So she says, stay here, and she goes over there. She brings you 3 presents, and she takes, which is actually quite a large one, because you gave her trousers and a scarf. It's soft, but it's not small, actually.
It would be 2.
Oh, it would be 2. Okay, so she's a bit
one bigger
surprised.
one and a smaller one.
Okay, so basically, which one do you want to open first?
Let's get over with mothers. That would be the first one.
You open it, and it is a necklace with a pendant that is essentially Lalique. So it's Jugendstil, whatever that is in English. And it is it is actually very beautiful. It is quite understated, very austere in its beauty, but you can tell it's actual silver. And it's got one single stone, which is actually almost like the color of your eyes.
That is surprisingly pretty. Alice is surprised, impressed, all at the same time. Because that is something she would actually wear, so she will wear it for today, at least, so it's around her neck now.
You, the next one is a box that is made of wood. You can tell it's about yay big. You open it, it's from Penny. It's a very, very old bottle of wine, 1901, red. And it just has a note in there saying, don't drink it all at once or I'll know. Happy Christmas. And the last one is yay big. And it's flat, but quite heavy.
Okay. I will carefully open it.
When you open it, basically do you actually just tear it open or do you go with the sellotape?
She will carefully open along the tape and will try to be as careful as possible not to rip the paper too much.
Okay. So since it's basically now upside down, you can tell from the back it's a picture frame.
Okay.
You can tell it's solid silver. You turn it over, and it's a picture of you. Taken at school. And it's a picture also of Penny. The two of you standing together at some function. And it's a really lovely Art Deco style frame. And it's from Dottie.
How did you get this picture? This is pretty.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Thank you so much. The perfect gift. And we will drink on it with Penny's lovely wine.
And then she opens hers, and she opens the smaller one first, and it's a scarf. Is it green?
It's I think cream colored, but with a light, maybe leaf pattern that fits the green of her coat.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
So not too much. Something she would be comfortable to wear, except that it's silk and expensive. But generally, from pattern-wise, that it's something she would wear.
Okay, so next one are the trousers. Describe those trousers for me.
I think they would be brown in a quite comfortable but heavy-duty-ish cloth. Nicely cut, not too tight, but generally comfy and functioning.
She looks at them and she says, that I did not expect.
Well, since you A, enjoyed your pairs, and B, it suits you wonderful, I thought a second pair is not the worst. And this fits with quite everything.
She looks at you and then she says, don't move. She goes out. She comes back. 10 minutes later, she's wearing the trousers. So what do you think?
I got the right size, yes. They look perfect. Are they
Excellent.
comfy?
Yes, very much so. I
Great.
could definitely put on some ornaments now because it's a lot easier to, but I won't climb the ladder.
Please, we both should be careful around ourselves, as it seems.
Yes,
The tree
yes.
kind of fits to the last weeks and days.
Kind of disjointed, you mean?
Yeah, a bit special, but there are pretty parts.
Yes. And then there's, yeah,
Not so,
then there's a break.
but hey, it's our tree.
It's
We're
our
safe and
tree.
sound at home.
It's our tree. Yeah. Do you actually have a camera, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, so then she will actually ask you for it,
Sure.
to borrow it. Okay, and she will take a picture of you with the necklace. Like, ensuring that the necklace is visible. Depending on what you're wearing, it might be kind of like in your collar, inside your collar.
Also, I would force her to make a picture of both of us sitting in front of the tree.
Okay, so the two of you camp out in front of the tree and she takes pictures. That's perfect. Yeah, she's going to do that. It's not a problem. And so basically Christmas Day passes and the two of you really take your time. Now that's the 25th. As is usual, the 25th of December is usually followed very quickly by New Year's. That's just the nature of things. What does Alice Baker do for New Year's?
Usually she's partying with dancing and drinking. This year, she will stay at home.
Okay.
But she leaves open for Dottie if she wants to go to the family or celebrate somewhere. She's free to go.
Interestingly enough, Dottie and her family are not. I mean, being Irish, Christmas isn't that big a deal. They don't really do that much for Christmas, so it's you don't really go for visits and stuff. And she always, that stays in for New Year's. So she basically just when you go out partying, she stays at home and she reads a book or three, or it's the one day also when she decides that she doesn't cook. So she doesn't really do anything. She may make sandwiches for you that you get something to eat before you go out, so that you don't get drunk on an empty stomach. But she doesn't do any cooking per se. So since you are staying in, however, she is going to do some cooking, and it's going to be fish. And then New Year's, and it's midnight, and it's 1931.
At least Alice is thinking, let's hope the next year's not getting as crazy as the last. Me as a player, no. Oh dear, you have no idea.
And when you say this out loud, let's hope that the new year is not as exciting or maybe not as exhausting as the last year. Dottie says, and let's drink to this. And she does drink to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to bed at some point, and then it's January the 1st. And you wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Light floods in. It's bright. And the house is completely silent. You look at your watch. It's 1:15 in the afternoon.
Okay. That is not good. I will get up quite quickly. Even though it's hurting. Probably still. And will just open my bedroom door. And first of all listen. And you say no one is there?
It's absolutely quiet.
I will just call out for Dottie.
There's no answer.
I will carefully go downstairs. And
She didn't even do the dishes. Still like it was last night. She did put them away. They're in the sink. Nothing.
Then I will double check if there's a note, because usually we leave the notes by the phone, although I highly doubt she would leave without. So is there a note by the phone?
No.
I will go back upstairs more quickly than I probably should and go another upstairs towards her room.
The door to her room is closed.
I will knock.
There's no answer.
I will open it.
The room is plunged in semi-darkness. The curtains have not been drawn.
Mm-hmm.
So the curtains are still drawn. And you can tell that there is somebody lying in bed.
Which at least gives me... She's still there, that's something, but I will just carefully sit at the edge of the bed and will just put my hand on her shoulder, just carefully, like Dottie.
You feel movement. She is lying on her back. And she sits upright like lightning. And she says, "Mom, is that you?"
No, it's Alice.
You can tell that she has been sweating. Mm-hmm. She is completely soaked. And you can see beads of sweat on her forehead.
I would probably do the same that she did with me before Christmas. I would just put my hand on her forehead to see if she's
burning up.
Okay, my dear. I will call the doctor. Just lay down. I will probably walk over. She would have like some water and a little bathroom probably up here as well. So I will just grab a towel, probably a small one, and just make it wet with cold water and just go back, put it on her forehead. Mm-hmm. I will probably open the drapes a little bit, that there's a little bit of light coming in now. I will double check if she has some water by her bedside table, and would go by a bed and would first of all get her also try to drink a bit, dear.
She swallows, but you can hear her red. She's almost vomiting it up.
And then I will go downstairs and I will, although today's the 1st of January, yes? But I would still have a main doctor, I would guess.
You are rich, yes, you do.
So, and it's not like nowadays that on public holidays they are not reachable.
No.
So she will give him a call.
Okay.
And hope that someone answers the phone.
Somebody does.
How do you want to call him? Dr. Peterson. Let's give him that name.
Let's give him that name. We'll add it to the list later. Dr. Peterson. Okay.
Baker here. Is Dr. Peterson in? I'm really sorry to call.
You are speaking to Mrs. Peterson.
Happy New Year, first of all.
Happy New Year. Yes, of course. My husband is here. Will you just hold the line, please?
Thank you.
And she basically puts down the receiver, and then a couple of minutes later, Dr. Peterson answers the phone. Peterson?
Baker. Alice Baker here. I know it's holiday today, and Happy New Year, I guess. Could you come over to my place quite urgent? Not for me, but my assistant is not doing very well, and I'm not sure if I should get her into a hospital or not. She's running a very high fever and is slightly hallucinating, which worries me.
I will be there as soon as possible.
Thank you so much.
In the meantime, keep her warm. and try to get her to drink water.
Did both already.
Good. I'll be there as soon as I can.
Thank you.
And okay, so he hangs up. What do you do?
I will be waiting downstairs because honestly, I'm not running up 2 stairs to run down 2 stairs again because
Okay.
I'm getting to the limit where it's
Yeah.
physically healthy for me. So
Yeah.
I will probably go to the kitchen, fill up a carafe with water, and we'll just probably clean the kitchen while I'm waiting for the doctor to come around.
Okay, it does take him round about an hour because, he does have to get ready. He does have to get his things, and then he has to get a cab and drive across town. And he does. So basically, there is a knock on the door, or your doorbell rings, whichever, and you let him in. It's him.
I will bring him upstairs. He will
Okay.
probably see that I'm also not the fittest, although it's the question he doesn't even know because I was in hospital.
You weren't really.
I was. So then, but I will bring him upstairs, and we'll just step next to Dottie. Dottie, dear, Dr. Peterson is here to look after you.
Okay, make a medical something or other roll. Medicine, first aid, whatever you've got.
I have both, although first aid is better.
Then go with that one.
That was a 94. No.
Oh dear. But you look at him as well, and you notice that he has a very grave look on his face, and he takes her wrist. He looks at his watch, takes her pulse, and he says, "She's unconscious. We need to get her to a hospital now."
Then let's go.
Would you ring a cab, please?
Will you be able to carry her downstairs?
That will not be a problem.
Okay.
He does.
I will
Carries
just
her downstairs.
throw over. I will get down quite quickly because I don't care. Adrenaline is now there. I will ring a cab. I will grab a coat.
And he says, I'm going to take her to St. Joseph's. If you would pack a bag for her and follow us, that would be helpful.
There 2 minutes behind you. And I will go run upstairs again, grab a few things just randomly, and then grab another cab and go to St. Joseph's.
Okay, so you get to St. Joseph's, which is quite a big hospital, actually. And today is the 1st of January, so it doesn't have an A&E per se, so you don't find the people who basically overdid it, or the revelers, or people who got into drunken fights. Also, that's not their clientele, because this is kind of like an upmarket private hospital. Which also means that he didn't really pay any attention to how she's going to pay for this, because he just made the decision to take her there.
Yeah.
And you walk inside, and there is a reception area, and there is a nurse there, and she looks at you coming in, and she says, "Yes, madam."
Dr. Peterson just arrived like 1 or 2 minutes, a few minutes before me with a young lady, Miss Williams.
Yes, and you are a family only. Please, what's your name? You are the sister?
I am. Yes, I'm Alice Williamson.
Alice Williams. All right, because we have not really got any personal details for that patient. So if you would fill in this form, and she hands you a 3-page form to fill in.
Can I first of all see how she's doing, please? I will fill out the form, obviously, before we leave.
Oh, she's intensive care. I don't think you can, if you wouldn't mind, because we need somebody to authorize us treating her if we need to become, let's say, a little more invasive.
Alice will fill out the form, we'll probably lie about a few things, whatever she needs, but
Well, next of kin is one of
next
them.
of kin, but address where she's living and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
So you lie about the address?
no, it's
Oh,
it's
okay. So
our
yeah.
address.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Okay.
not
All
the
right.
Williams family.
Yeah. Okay. Not
rest
the
of
Williams family address. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And is there any chance I can speak to a doctor? I would really like to know what is wrong with her.
Oh yes, of course, Miss Williams. If you will follow me, and she basically clamps all of these 3 pages to one of those clamp boards and takes it with her, and she takes you to a. She takes it like it. This is a big hospital, so it's almost like a maze. You find it a bit difficult to navigate because it looks very samey wherever you go, but you notice it's 3 stairs up, 3 flights of stairs up. So she's on the 3rd floor. And basically she says, if you wouldn't mind waiting here,
Sure.
a doctor will be with you presently.
Thank you.
She sits you down, you sit down, and you wait. An hour passes. What do you do?
Did she just go back down, or did she go inside?
No, she kept going.
I will
And
just follow the direction she went, and we'll just peek and see if I can see Dr. Peterson or any kind of doctor or nurse or whatever.
You do see a doctor, or probably a doctor, but it's not Dr. Peterson. It's a woman, actually.
Okay, she would be... Excuse me, I'm waiting for over an hour now on information about my sister.
Oh, and who is your sister?
Miss Williamson. Dr. Peterson brought her here.
Oh, would that be Miss Dorothy Geraldine Williams?
Yes.
And you are her sister?
Alice, her sister.
So you are... so you're next of kin?
Yes.
If you wouldn't mind stepping into my office, please, Miss Williams.
Alice will take a deep breath, trying not to be rude. What is wrong with her?
If you wouldn't mind to sit down, please.
I'd rather stand, but thank you. Alice will be like the tiger in a cage. She will walk up and down.
I'm afraid the news isn't good. Your sister has a brain fever.
She was well yesterday. At least she seemed well.
These things can happen quite quickly, I'm afraid. So it's an inflammation of the brain.
What can we do?
We call it encephalitis. We are doing all we can.
Is there anything more you can do with the right funding?
She sits down behind her desk and she folds her hand and she says, "We are doing all we can. It is not something that can be cured by putting money into it. The situation is very grave."
I need to make some calls. The rest of the family needs to know. Her mother will murder me if I don't call.
Of course. Why don't you just go home and...
No.
Be with your mother and father, and if there are any other siblings?
It's a big family. I will not leave her side.
I cannot really... I mean, you want to go inside. You can't really... She is hallucinating.
I don't care.
She won't know you.
I don't care. I will make some phone calls. I'm quite sure the rest of the family, at least mother, father, will want to see her or her.
I cannot actually allow any visitors. It is way too... Believe me, Miss Williams, you don't want to see your sister at this stage.
I want to be by her side. I get that you can't have the whole family there, but I want to be there with her. I don't care.
I have warned you. She will not know you.
I'm fine with that.
She is hallucinating.
I know. She said mother to me when I woke up.
Well, then, there is a phone booth downstairs. Be my guest.
Okay. I will be right back.
Yes, you can ask after me.
Your name is? I didn't even get her.
No, and I haven't made it up yet.
Doctor?
Yeah, it's actually it's Dr. Grace Tyrrell. We have to extend the name list. Dr. Grace Tyrrell.
Dr. Tyrrell.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. And is Dr. Peterson still there, or did he leave?
Well, Dr. Peterson handed his patient over to us, and he is not licensed to work in this hospital.
Okay. Well, I will make some calls, and Alice will go downstairs, and I'm quite sure she would know the number of Dottie's family.
You do.
If they even have a phone, question mark?
I won't let you roll on your luck, because that'll probably exclude it. On a 95, actually, even with her luck, they don't.
But there would be a number of
Yeah.
a neighbor shop or anything like that.
Yeah. It's the 1st of January, though.
She will try to call.
Okay, so you managed to get a laundry.
Mm-hmm.
That's down the road. That's next to, basically. That's where Dottie's mum works.
Yeah. I'm trying to reach the Williams family. It's urgent.
And who's calling?
Baker. My name is Alice Baker. The daughter, Dorothy, works with me.
All right. And in what regard do you want to speak to her family? It's the first. I'm pretty sure that they may be at mass. What is going on?
They're at mass now?
Yes. San Silvester.
Their daughter is in hospital and not in a good shape.
Which hospital? I will try and find them, and or as soon as they get back, I will send them there. Which hospital and what is it?
It's St. Joseph, and she's running a fever, a quite dangerous fever.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph, what do you mean she's running a very dangerous fever? Who are you again?
Alice Baker. I'm the one she's working with.
Do you have a phone number where you are? How? It's St. Joseph's. Where is that exactly? And
I will
course,
give her the full address and where everything
she writes
is.
it down. I will. I don't. Yes. And so, can she receive visitors? Do you want? So they will be there as soon as possible.
Alice is fine. I'm not sure they can see her in persona.
What do you mean they can't see her?
I'm trying to, when people are sick and they don't want to have people around because hospital and doctors, and just tell them it would be lovely at least if the parents could be there. Not the whole. It would be a lot if everyone would show up, but at least the parents would be good.
I will talk to them. I will talk to them. But it may be a couple of hours. I don't know when they will be back, but I will send them over there straight away.
Thank you. I'm at the hospital. I will not leave her side.
How come you can stay by her side when they don't allow visitors?
Well, if
Who are
I'm
you
not
again?
allowed to go inside, I will stand outside the door. Don't worry about that. Please just inform them.
I will, and the person hangs up. So you go upstairs again?
Yeah, I will go upstairs again, and we'll see if I can find Dr. Tyrrell, or at least ask around, and...
You find a nurse, and she will point you towards where Dr. Tyrrell currently sits, and she's sitting in her office again. The door is open.
Then I will just knock at the door frame.
Oh yes, Miss Williams.
Well,
have you reached your mother and father?
No, they're at mass at church, but they will get the information as soon as they're out from church.
Yes, on that matter, I see you left blank denomination. In case we need a priest, which denomination?
Catholic.
She makes a note. All right.
Can I see her now, please?
I would like to emphasize one more time that I don't think this is going to do any good.
I don't care.
All right, then, if you will follow me, please. And she takes you to a room, which is a single room. There is only one bed in there. And Dottie looks quite forlorn in it because they are all standard size and she's not that big. And now you can make a spot hidden check for me, please.
That is a hard success.
Okay. So, it's all white. So white linen, white everything. You notice that they've tied her to the bed. They've restrained her. You also see that she is sweating profusely. And her eyes are wide open and she is absolutely non-responsive.
I will just look for a chair to sit next to her bed.
There is a chair.
And I will just sit next to her bed. I will grab her hand. I don't care if it's tied down. I will not loosen anything. I will just hold her hand and I will just quietly talk to her as if she would recognize me and be there with me. Like, I'm so sorry I did not wake up earlier and everything will be alright. And I'm really sorry but I called your parents. And she will just go on talking. And we'll still have a look if she is responsive to anything.
She doesn't really respond, but you notice something else. Above the headboard is a fever curve. She's running a fever of 41. A nurse comes in and she says, I'm not sure if it's wise that you're there. She's not well.
I know.
Then she ignores her. She goes round to the other side, moves back. They've put her in one of those gowns, and she moves back the sleeve, and you can see that she is putting in a drip into her wrist down here, and then you can see drip, drip, drip as they are feeding something into her. And then at some point, someone comes in and they have a light and they shine it into her eyes and they make notes. And at this stage, there are several medical personnel walking in and out. They are completely ignoring you.
Good.
And then you see Dr. Tyrrell come in and she looks at Dottie. She feels her pulse and tachycardia, fever, and completely irresponsive to light. And she basically checks a couple of points on a piece of paper and walks out again.
If I'm alone, I would grab
You
that
are alone
piece of paper that is probably at the bed or something like that, and she would have a Snoopy look.
Yeah. So you can because you know enough about medicine. So basically, what it says is that she has way too high a heart rate, and encephalitis is written down. And then irresponsive to light, and then somebody wrote in a very, very bad handwriting, which you can make out, brain damage, ?
We'll put it back where it belongs. And we'll turn back to Dottie. You know that I need someone to take care of me. You can't go out like this. Come on. Work with me.
And at that moment, you hear voices in front of the door.
Mm-hmm. Irish.
And yes, very much so. And I don't know, have you ever met her parents?
I would imagine by now, yes.
Yeah, you can tell. I mean, her mother is an Irish mammy, so nothing comes between her and her kids. And she is demanding to see her daughter. And her father isn't exactly quiet about it either.
I can imagine that.
But you do hear Dr. Tyrrell. She's very calm. And you can hear the words priest and prepare for the worst.
Alice will do something that is quite unusual for her, but she will probably do a little prayer. Not in a very good way, because it's ages ago that she learned that, but she would do a little prayer. And at the same time, she would just ask herself how on earth Dottie would get that and how it's caused. And but she would stay at Dottie's side.
Mm-hmm.
Holding a hand, talking regularly, probably from time to time, just making sure she's well covered in a blanket.
So for the next 20 minutes or so, this is what you do. Then the door opens and in come two people.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely her parents. There's a family resemblance, although it's not that strong, but you can tell who they are. They make their way to their daughter's bedside, and her mother is trying to keep it together. Her father isn't doing so well. What do you do?
I will not move. I will just nod to them.
And yeah, they just stand there, and they are, well, they're pretty much in shock. And then Dr. Tyrrell comes in and she says, I really must ask everyone to leave now, because we really need to ensure that the patient gets... And she breathes in and out. It gets some rest.
There's no way one of us can just quietly sit by her side.
Miss Williams, she looks at you, and both her parents look at you as well. I don't know what you are hoping to achieve, but she cannot hear you. She cannot see you. She doesn't even know you're here.
You know that for sure. It can't hurt to have one person she cares about around. We can take turns. We will not be in the way, we will not disturb you, we just want to be there, that she feels we are there. You often hear stories about people not being conscious, but still some kind of recognizing that someone is there they care about. She needs all the support she can get.
If it makes you feel better, but please do not interfere. She walks out. Her parents look at you.
I am sorry. The only chance I could get in here was telling I was next of kind. If not, they wouldn't even have told me what's going on.
Yeah, but what is going on? We were told that she's at death's door, and she quite frankly looks it. Her mother is irate.
Yesterday she was doing fine. At least she didn't tell me there was anything. And this morning when I woke up, she was still in bed and she was running a fever. So I called my house doctor who came by and we brought her here. I have no idea how someone gets this and what is happening.
And her father looks around and he says, Bridie, we can't even pay for this.
That's not a worry.
How is that not a worry? I mean, I don't even know.
I will obviously pay. I gave all the contacts on payment for my address. Dottie is my assistant and my friend. Money is not the point here, whatever it takes.
And she has been like this ever since she was here?
Yes.
She hasn't spoken at all?
Well, back at home she spoke a tiny bit before she went unconscious, and she mistook me for you, Miss Williams.
She looks at you, she says there is no resemblance.
No, but in thoughts she was with you. So maybe you should sit with her for a little while.
And he looks at her and he says, Bridie, I think that may be a good thing. And her mother pulls up a chair and she sits down on the other side of Dottie. And then she looks at him and she says, Joseph, somebody needs to be with the kids. Please go home.
We will take turns and keep you posted.
Joseph is, you know that he's a quiet man. He doesn't talk much and he's visibly upset. But he just turns and walks away. He doesn't say anything. He just leaves.
Okay.
And Bridie sits there and she's looking at her daughter. And and evening falls and it gets dark.
I would leave her with Dottie on her own for a while. I would look again for Dr. Terrell.
You can find her. She's still in her office.
Because I would just knock.
Oh, Miss Williams, do step inside.
I will step inside.
Please be seated.
Will carefully sit down. First of all, thank you that one of us can stay with her. As I said, we will not be in the way. But I was really curious on how do you get this out of nothing?
Well, it's an infection. Bacterial. Sometimes viral. If it is bacterial, antibiotics may help. If it's viral...
But that means, why don't I have it? We've been around the same place, eating the same stuff for the last days.
It could be typhoid fever. Then she ingested something. It can't be transmitted like that. I doubt it's meningitis. It could be, but I doubt it.
I'll need to make another call, and then Mother and I will take turns.
Feel free. I have a round to make. If you like, you can take my phone.
Thank you.
There's a phone on the. You have to dial 0.
Thank you so much. If it's... She will stay in the office, will she, when I do the call?
No, she's going to go on her round.
Then it's fine, because she will
No, she's not going to stay. She's going on her round and you can use her phone.
I will
And
call
she leaves.
the moment she steps out, I will dial Sinead's number.
Okay, yeah. You dial Sinead's number. Sinead does have a phone.
Mm-hmm.
She answers the phone. It's now close to midnight on the 1st of January. She goes and answers the phone. She is very, very sleepy.
Sinead, I'm really sorry. Alice here.
Alice, what's wrong?
Totty is in hospital.
What?
They are not sure if she will make it, and I'm not sure what she has.
What do you mean?
You
What?
see things I don't. I want to make sure it's nothing that the doctors cannot see.
What's going on? What happened?
She did not wake up this morning. Yesterday she was fine going to bed. This morning I had to wake her and she was not really responsive. She has extremely high fever. They were talking about they should organize a priest. Her mother is here.
I'll be right there. Where are you?
St. Joseph's Hospital, and I will meet you downstairs.
All right, give me an hour.
Okay.
Half an hour. I'll be right there.
Thank you.
And you hang up, and you can and you are alone in the office of Dr. Tyrrell. There is nobody else there.
I will leave the office. I will walk downstairs slowly to meet up with Sinead because I don't want her to officially ask the way. I will just be there, like, greeting her and bringing her upstairs. And the goal is to get a moment where no doctor is there to get her into the room.
I mean, this is now in the middle of the night, so there is night staff, lights are down, there is just emergency lighting, and there is no traffic really, so you can see a nurse going in and basically adjusting people's drips and that kind of thing, but there is no real surgery in that sense. So you meet Sinead downstairs. She comes upstairs with you. Mrs. Williams is sitting next to her daughter. She's talking to her. But it doesn't seem like she's getting any response.
I would probably ask Sinead to wait outside for a second.
Sinead waits outside. Sinead is very anxious and nervous.
And I would go inside, just tap on Miss Williams' shoulder. And maybe a few minutes of break for you. I will just stay put here.
What's the time?
After midnight already.
Oh, I should really try and see how Joseph and the kids are doing. You know that Dottie has 2 nieces and 1 nephew, and basically that's the kids because her siblings are of course grown up.
Would you feel more comfortable to go back home and come back afterwards?
Yeah, I think, well, Joseph's a terrible cook. I will nip back for 2 hours or so. I also need to change. I will be right back. So you will be staying with her?
I will be staying with her. I will not leave. I will probably also pull out the last money I have in my coat somewhere deep down and just for the cab.
Thank you. Well, I mean, you still had $11 because that's the delta from buying the tree, and you would have taken that with you because obviously you will have expenses, and she takes some money and she takes a cab, and then
the moment
she leaves.
She steps outside, I would just peek and I would.
Sinead steps inside. Sinead is close to tears as she sees Dottie. Dottie is now really just lying there and staring unseeingly at the ceiling.
I have the weird feeling that this might be, as I said, something different. Maybe you get something. might be also me grasping for the last straw.
And she steps next to Dottie, and she basically looks down, and she takes her hand, and she starts saying stuff which you don't understand. It's not in English. And then you hear a cry of pain from Sinead.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that Dottie has started to convulse and has grabbed and grasped her hand and is basically squeezing down like a vise on her hand. And Sinead is trying to go with the movement and is basically bending down as her hand is essentially being crushed by Dottie, and Dottie is essentially convulsing, and it is quite violent. Actually, it's like she's having a seizure.
I will just look at Sinead.
Sinead's just crying with pain.
Then I would just run outside to call for doctor, nurse, whatever.
A nurse is coming from the nurse station. She says, "What is going on? What is going on?"
She's cramping up. That doesn't look good.
She runs inside and she pushes a button, which you haven't noticed yet. So basically a bell starts ringing, and there's a light above the door that goes on. And you see Dr. Tyrrell, who seems to be on 24-hour shift, come out and storm in, and she says, "What's going on?" And the nurse says, "Seizure." And Dr. Tyrrell says, "All right." And the nurse is now trying to clamp her. She's clamping down on her jaw to try to open it.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Tyrrell is trying to force a piece of, looks like a small piece of leather between her teeth. Sinead is crying with pain. And then the nurse gets an injection ready, which they put into her arm. And the seizure goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And she relaxes, and Sinead gets up from the ground on which she has been kneeling, and you can tell that one of the fingers is probably broken because it's kind of like at a weird angle.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Tyrrell is looking at the two of you saying, "And who is this? We said one visitor?"
Cousin, as I said, we are taking turns.
What happened to your hand? Give me your hand. And Sinead stretches out the hand. She says, "Well, you've broken a finger. Come with me." And she leads Sinead out of the room. The nurse is still there. The nurse is now basically dabbing her Dottie's forehead with a wet cloth. She's taking her pulse.
Mm-hmm.
And she is noting down the pulse rate, which is, if you read it correctly, upside down 180. And she also shines a light in her eyes, and there is again no response whatsoever. And Dr. Tyrrell comes back, and she says, "Miss Williams, I'm afraid we will have to bring in a neurologist."
As I said, whatever helps. Money is not a problem.
Yes. And you now wait, and a neurologist comes in. So he introduces himself as a Dr. Simon McMahon.
God, the list of doctors. Before he comes in, Mac was what?
McMahon, M-A-H-O-N.
Oh, and before he comes in, I would step outside shortly and just look out for Sinead.
Sinead has been referred to the orthopedics ward where she's getting a cast for her hand because she's got a broken
Okay.
finger.
Then, I would have asked the doctor then where
Yeah,
she
no,
is.
she's telling you that it'll be fine, but you will have to wear a cast, and
Okay.
So Dr. McMahon comes in and he basically confers with Dr. Tyrrell, and then he basically says, "All right," and then he asks for the restraints to be removed, and then he takes out a little hammer and he hits her basically up here and up here, and now you can make a spot hidden. My God, and I thought we weren't going to roll tonight at all, but we
I
are.
thought it would be a chill episode.
Yeah. Well, it went more quickly than I thought.
That is, I can't spend luck. That's a hard success.
Okay. You notice that as he's doing this, Dr. Tyrrell is watching very closely, and then he looks up to her and he shakes his head. And she says, "Thank you, Simon. Thank you for coming so quickly." And he walks out, and we will leave it at that.
No way I can talk to Sinead?
Yes, you can talk to Sinead if you like. She's sitting there feeling miserable. She's got a broken ring finger, and she's got like this tiny cast around it, and she's feeling miserable.
I would still sit next to her and leave, well, Dottie at least for a few moments on her own, and would just ask Sinead if she sensed anything, if there was anything next to her finger being...
You mean apart from the fact that I was almost... she looks at you very earnest. She says, "I didn't feel anything.
Okay.
I felt nothing. And I mean nothing. There is nothing in there. It seems like not even her soul is there.
How?
She's ill. She's very ill."
Well, we know that.
Maybe this is nothing that I can help you with.
I just wanted to make sure that there's not an evil ghost standing next to her doing something or whatever. After all
No, I
we've
think
been
whatever
through.
it is inside of her, and it's probably too small for the human eye to see.
Alice is so tempted to get some meat and see if she reacts to meat in front of her. I will thank Sinead anyhow, and will promise her to keep her posted, kind of.
Do you go back inside?
I will go back inside. I just wanted to talk to Sinead and see if she came up with anything, and then I will sit back next to Dottie and just hold her hand against better judgment.
And do you talk to her?
I will talk to her, but it will be just random sentences probably, but she will start with, "I know you're still in there. You just need to help me, give me anything how we can get you back."
Are you saying this out loud?
Loud enough for her to hear, but not yelling or screaming or anything. Just in a normal, calm, low voice.
Dr. Tyrrell kneels down next to you.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, "Miss Williams,
Mm-hmm.
the neurologist just checked her reflexes. There aren't any."
I see.
The antibiotics aren't working. There is no change. The temperature's gone up. And you can actually see that the curve has gone up slightly. We will do what we can. But if the fever doesn't go down, I'm afraid that the brain will be damaged beyond repair.
Understood.
She can remain in this state for a very long time. She may die, or she may stay like this.
Or she will wake up. She's stubborn.
Or she will
Strong.
wake up. There is always a possibility. Medicine isn't an exact science. But I would like to ask you to think about to what lengths you would like to go. You don't need to answer now.
I don't have to think about it. I will do whatever I can and whatever is possible to help her. And I'm not giving up on her easily.
All right. We will see what the next couple of days bring. If she doesn't improve, we will have to move her somewhere else.
Okay.
If you need anything, my shift ends in 2 hours. Then I will be gone for about a day, and I will come back tomorrow night. In the meantime, I will give you my phone number.
Thank you.
In case of an emergency or if you need anything, please ring.
Could you just please make sure that it's still okay that one of us is here with her? Because her mother will come back.
I will let my colleagues know.
Thank you.
And she takes out a card, a calling card with her name and number, 2 numbers in fact. One is the phone number in the office and the other one is the private number.
Mm-hmm.
And and you can see that she is she seems to specialize in infectious diseases.
So at least we seem to be with the right doctor.
And then she steps outside. She's being very quiet. She closes the door.
And Alice will just go on talking, probably in between, again and again. Just repeat between talking that Williams, you have to work with me. We need to know what's wrong with you to help you.
And she unfortunately doesn't reply tonight, so we will leave it at that.
Oh man!
Well,
I
had to
roll
set up
20 sanity checks, definitely.
Yes, that'll come. You will actually have to make a couple of sanity checks on that one.
All the
Okay.
Wendigos and wolves and all the fun things, everything that we had. Ghosts.
It's all not that bad, is it?
No, it's not.
Yeah. Okay, so I hope in spite of everything you still enjoyed it.
I did.
And we will see in a couple of months what's going to happen to dear Dottie.
Oh God, I
and we
totally
wish you all.
forgot that it will take some time.
Yes, we're gonna switch over in 2 weeks' time to something else for a change. But so at least I can keep you entertained.
Worried is more the word, but okay.
Okay, then be safe, everyone. It was a pleasure, and I hope we hope you enjoyed it as well. And we will talk to you soon. Bye bye.